What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to Tour Life. Today is October 8th, and we have a full pack show for you this week. We're going to have both the winners of the MVP Open, Missy Gannon and James Proctor, join the show. We're going to be giving our little USDGC preview. We got some Edwin stats and some listener questions to finish it off. And is Brad coming on this week, Uli?
He is.
Oh boy. Wow. That should be exciting. So a lot of really fun interviews coming up, but how's it going, brother? How was this past week?
Past week has been awesome. So the Carolina Clash was going on in Charlotte this week.
Yep.
So I had a bunch of guys staying here, driving back and forth. So it's been a packed house. Some people practicing for the USDGC and the Clash, and in turn,
are those super close
Tour
together to where you could play in the tournament and also practice the same week?
You can, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like 40 minutes in between them.
So not bad.
And so yeah, it was just a packed house. Guys playing that, guys practicing the U.S. Championship, and yeah, it's been a busy week. Got the dad life going, so I've been staying up pretty late and then getting a little sleep here and there, and doing some rehab on the shoulder. So, really chill week, honestly. Not much going on except for that.
What does your USDGC week look like? Is it ramped up at all for being a major, or is it same old, same old?
Well, I did the practice round today. I went out, I actually just played left-handed with Nate Doss and Sexton and Germ. That was really fun. USDGC week typically is a little crazy, but since I'm not playing this year, I'm actually looking forward to getting out there and watching the guys and seeing what's going on with them. Obviously, I have Jomez during the week, and then I just have a bunch of guys staying here. So,
gotcha. So pretty busy all in all. USDGC week's one of the few tournaments that I actually advise people to drive to.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's really the only tournament that feels kind of you're at like a big event. I think a lot of other tournaments can definitely look at some of the things that they do there. Obviously, it can get a lot better for sure, but I view USDGC kind of as the top event we play.
No, it's
European
always
Open's
been like
probably
that.
up there too.
Listen, when my first World Championships I ever played was cool. It was neat. My first US Championship was like a memory. I can't remember the feelings that I got playing my first World Championship, but I remember exactly what I felt like standing on hole one and them announcing my name. It was the first time that I thought that I would be a professional disc golfer, because it was my first actual pro event. After I won the Amateur World Championships, you got to play on the featured card of the US Championship with the previous winner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember playing the course and then them calling your name and just having the craziest jitters I've ever had in my life, and being like, oh wow, there's actually professionals that do this. Like this if every tournament's like this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm curious. We got a decent chat right now in here. So you guys file in right here. If you're listening to this after the fact, you can hit us up on Twitter or go over to our YouTube and drop a comment, because I'm curious, from a fan's perspective, is it different? Because from a player's perspective, to get into the World Championships, you just have to respond to an email and you have to sign up. That's all you have to do. To get into the United States Disc Golf Championship, you have to qualify. It's a lot harder. It's not even a lot harder. It's actually hard to get in. Yeah. To get into Worlds, it's not hard at all. Does that resonate with the fans? I'm curious, because it definitely resonates, like you're saying, it definitely resonates with the players.
Yeah.
Stepping up to the tee at USDGC is a different feeling than stepping up to the first tee at the World Championships. But I don't know if that resonates necessarily with the fans.
And it's close. Like I would put second as far as prestige, the European Open.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get a little bit, but it's nothing like the US Championship. Like, I don't know, there's an aura and a lot of it's like old Yankee Stadium. So much stuff has happened there that I'm sure the feeling of going in there and then seeing the statues and all the banners and everything, or going to a Lakers game or something, there's like a different feeling. And I feel like that's what it's like at the U.S. Championship because of the great playoffs and the great moments that we've had over the years. And it's never left there. It's been there forever. You know, I was just, I played with Nate today, Doss, and he hasn't played it in 7 years. And I was like, it kind of hit me like, oh, this tournament's been going on for a long time, a real long time. And everybody feels the same way about it. That it's just like, and a lot of great things have come from the U.S. Championship. I think a lot of course designing over the years have taken a lot of things that people thought were taboo back in the day, and they pushed like little things and kind of push course design to a new direction for professional disc golfers with, you know, like the bamboo hole or the island hole, or they've really been, sometimes it's silly, but they've really been like innovative with like new rules, or not innovative, but like they
tested stuff out.
They test stuff out. Yeah.
Which is kind of weird to do at a major, but someone's got to do it.
But
and
the
PDGA
you know,
is not going to do it.
Some of it sticks, and it feels right to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's just it too. Is like they don't have handcuffs like a lot of other courses do. So, or a lot of all the other events do because of the PDGA, so they can kind of go out and do their own thing a little bit.
And then the finish is incredible. I mean, if you ever have a chance to win the U.S. championships and you're coming down the stretch, 17's in your mind, 18's in your mind. You're thinking absolutely. Like, oh my gosh, I got to make it on this whole, like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of elements that like kind of come into where you're like, okay, I really have to like be mentally in control. It's not only a physical test of how good you can be, but it's a mental test. Because if you're off a little bit, you're skipping out of bounds. You could be 10, 12 over, throwing some pretty good shots. Yeah,
I can get away from you in a hurry. Before we go more into Usdgc, because I know we're going to talk a little bit about some course changes and predictions and all that. This past weekend, I want to give a big shout out to everyone that made the Heiser Club Championships what it was. For those that have no idea what I'm talking about, Heiser Club Championships is something that we do on an annual basis right around this time, pretty much every year. And it is for Patreon members only at a certain level in Patreon. And if it's something that you're interested in, you can go to patreon.com/foundation disc golf. It's in our description down below. But essentially what it is a bunch of people that love disc golf. We all get together and we play. I think this year was 4 rounds of disc golf. So the first round was doubles based off of skill level. So the best player got paired up with the worst player, and then kind of everyone fit in between. Then we did a crazy caddy round. It was actually 3 rounds that counted. Crazy caddy round where you're like having to throw crazy shots throughout the entire round. And the final round was New London singles. And our champion this year was Eddie with the passing of the orange jacket. We also have a nice little trophy there. There was Addison who won last year. Eddie taking the orange jacket. Also kind of shows you too, Uli, not that hard to have a nice trophy. Really not that difficult at all. But this was a really fun event, something that we look forward to. We do a tour of the retail store. We do a tour of the warehouse. So big shout outs to everyone that was involved. Jason's a big part of it. All Business, Brad, Hunter, Trevor, Connor, Silas, everyone that was a part of it. It's a fun week of disc golf. A lot of the guys flew in or drove up like the week before, like the Tuesday before. The event actually started on Friday, but they came in like on Tuesday and they play all the courses that you see on Foundation's Disc Golf YouTube channel. So it's a real fun time. If it's something that's interesting you can check into that at Patreon for more details. Before we get into our first guest, introducing Manscaped's newest invention, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver. the game-changing tool that brings the luxury of a professional shave right into your home. Whether you're after that daily silky smooth finish or prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver is your go-to for precision and style every time. Head over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using code TOURLIFE for 20% off plus free shipping. So what makes the Chairman Pro stand out? Well, it's about versatility, precision. It comes with 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. You have the skin-safe 4-blade foil that for that close, smooth shave when you're looking to go completely clean. And if a clean shave isn't your style, that's okay. Just switch to the skin-safe stubble trimmer to keep your stubble looking sharp and polished. Both heads are designed with skin-safe technology to help reduce razor burn and irritation, so your skin feels smooth, comfortable after you shave, reducing redness or discomfort. A standout feature that truly differentiates the Chairman Pro from the rest is the Flex Adjust technology. This innovative technology ensures a superior shave by allowing both blades and the pivoting head to seamlessly adapt to the unique contours of your face and neck, helping you maintain great contact with your skin at every angle. And here's something that's going to make your grooming routine even easier. The Chairman Pro is waterproof. Yep, you can use it right in the shower. Get the Chairman Pro today and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code TOURLIFE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code TOURLIFE at manscaped.com. Silas, I'm going to need you to reach out to All Business Brad and please have him send me and Yuli a Chairman Pro immediately, because this thing sounds super nice. What the heck?
I need that.
Yeah, it does sound incredible.
Because Kelsey sometimes gets pissed when I shave I kind of mess up, and so I have to like shave everything off. I need this stubble trimmer. I need to see what this stubble trimmer is all about. So let's definitely get that in me and Yuli's possession immediately.
I need it.
Yeah, we need that bad.
I feel like I'm a stubble guy too. Is the thing.
I used going back, Yuli, and looking at like old videos and old photos. I used to be all clean shaven. I never had a beard.
Yeah,
but now
I like your beard. I think you
Kelsey,
need a beard.
I think Kelsey would destroy me. Well, she always just hates it when I shave it all off. But sometimes, I mess up shaving, and what do I have to do? I gotta shave it all off.
Yeah.
All right, enough about shaving. Let's talk about someone that was definitely not shaving any points this season. Missy Gannon coming in off of her last win. And is that right? Tour champion as well? Tour points champion?
Yep. That's right.
Big money Missy in the house. How's it going, Missy?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing fine.
Good.
so coming in off the win, I'm going to be honest with you. The points thing was kind of crazy because I think Gannon had it like already won halfway through the season. So there wasn't really any talk about that. I didn't really hear that much talk about the points. Can you give me a little rundown? Like, were you in the lead for a while, or was this something that was based off of your MVP win?
I was in the lead for a little while. I feel like maybe up until Idlewild, I might have been up on top by a little bit. And then, I didn't quite have the finishes I wanted after I got back from Europe. And I think Holland then overtook that first spot. But we were all very close. I think it was within 100 points between the top 4 of us. So I think it was going to come down to the playoffs. And, I think after GMC, like Holland took 4th, I took 5th, and she stayed in the first place spot. I knew that was like a big tournament that I wanted to try to play pretty well at, but specifically I knew that like Holland was the one I needed to play better than. And it's funny because I talked to Holland after MVP, and it was, I didn't really know what needed to happen. It's hard to really keep track of all of the little points that go into the playoffs, but she knew that she needed to take 4th or better to beat me if I were to win, I guess. So the fact that she took 6th, I think, really solidified, me taking the top spot.
Yeah, we almost need to have, it's election season. We almost need to have that guy that does all the crazy calculations of like how the president is going to win. We need to have someone like that do. Maybe we get Edwin doing that next year. Getting on like all the different possibilities. If Missy finishes 2nd, Holland can finish 5th, and then that'd be interesting. Is that something that you guys still are, especially with like how the tour championship has now changed? Is that something that's like almost nearly as important as like winning a tournament now, is to get yourself in the tour points champion?
Do you get anything for it, or do you just get the strokes?
I think we just get the strokes. I know, like in the past, the national tour, we used to get like a bonus for placing a certain in a certain spot. But I think it's more of a pride thing, at least in my opinion, because really in the top 4, you're only separated by like 3 strokes. So, I feel like that could happen on 1 or 2 holes in one round out there. So yeah, the fact that I start with a 10-stroke advantage over, the bottom part of the field is nice, but realistically, I'm only 1 stroke better than Holland and 2 strokes better than Owen or whoever, Kristen, and then 3 strokes better than Owen. So really, like, it's not like a huge advantage, at least in my opinion, to my closest competitors and to the best people in our division.
I've always tinkered with an idea that we get rid of the world championships and then we just call the points winner the world champion, since you actually go play across the world and you get your points, and then
you're like
you just
the most
call that major
player.
something else.
I mean, it'll probably be that way after the fact, after I've already done it. So yeah, it's probably going to happen at least one day.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
If you want a trophy or something too for it, Missy, I can find something in my garage. I'm sure that we can arrange something.
Hey, I have it right here, actually.
Oh, you did get something.
Look at this freaking thing.
Gosh.
It's huge. What am I going to do with this?
That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's
a monster.
I know. It literally is bigger than like half my body, but yeah, it's cool, but it's a little obnoxiously large, but I'll take it.
That's a sweet one.
Jeez, you got to start a tradition of like filling it up with something and having to eat it or drink it.
I suggest water.
Everyone
It's the
say,
safest place.
I'm gonna go banana pudding. I would do banana pudding. Yuli, what are you putting in it?
What am I putting in it?
Yeah, if you won, you get to pick whatever you want, drink or food item.
Oh man, well,
Missy, if you have one, go ahead. I was just giving you a little bit of time while Yuli.
I mean, I'm gonna put some sort of alcoholic beverage in there and drink it with my friends. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're gonna share.
You just
Fair
take
enough.
a dunk out of there, and then you'd have a little toast. I think would be pretty good. Some champagne or something.
Yeah. I could see some good old fashioned like jungle juice in there, but maybe like some ice cream too. That would be sweet.
Oh, ice cream! I like that.
A big ice cream sundae.
What was that stuff that we had as kids? It was like worms and dirt or something, and it was like Oreo dirt. The dirt was like Oreos, and you had all the gummy worms coming out of it. Oh my god, a thing full of that would be woo, all right, there you have it. Okay, one question I did want to ask you though is we don't get too much knowledge about like the behind the scenes of how some of this stuff works, and Yuli, definitely jump into, because you're kind of in the same boat. But how was the process? How did the process go of getting your own, the captain's thrasher, like getting your own kind of disc? How did that process happen? Was it your idea? Was it Discraft's idea? How involved were you?
Well, I think that I think Yuli kind of set the precedent there. Like, he did a really cool thing by giving up his spot as a captain on the elite team to make room for some of these up and comers. And, he really took that opportunity to let other people kind of come onto the team and hit that spot. And that's a really big move to make, especially for somebody that I think still is really deserving of an elite team spot. And, so he kind of set that tone to have that opportunity with Discraft. I think Uli will share the same sentiment. They're just such a great company to work for and work with. And then I was given the opportunity with Uli and with Bob to potentially take a co-captain role to kind of expand our abilities as captains to kind of oversee the team. And it was just a natural progression. So it's really just a matter of like Uli setting that tone, and then it was just a really nice opportunity for me to that natural progression into having my own captain's disc. So I think Uli can probably speak to that process more than I can. I'm just a byproduct of what foundation he laid down for me to take that path.
Yeah, so I wasn't honestly really expecting it. I had the Raptor that I helped design to get that when I first came on the team as the captain, and they let me design the traditional Raptor. And then, we have rules in place for our elite team spots with points and everything. And I had a year where I wasn't going to be able to make it. And they gave me a choice. They said I could keep my spot. And we had, AB in the crosshairs, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'll step aside, and we can give him my spot, and then I can go over to wherever. Like, I can just be on the team, whatever, help Bob with however I need to help Bob, just be the captain, and I don't need a spot." You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I really don't. They've always hooked me up so well over there, and I think that Bob and the company saw that was a big move. They saw that it was an unselfish play, and then he hit me with an idea of, he's like, "Hey, why don't we just make another disc? We'll call it the Captain Raptor, and then that'll be your disc, and we'll release it one time a year." I think that was the biggest thing, is the one time a year thing. They really came up with a great idea there, because typically you would have to have a world championship before you got your name on a disc completely. And then they ship that out to, like the Dick's Sporting Goods and all those places like that. So it's you have to earn that. And so they came up with a great idea of like, "Hey, why don't we just come up with a new mold, and then we'll release it one time a year." And the fans really, really kind of caught on to it. And that's really what happened. I can't, there's no other explanation except for they saw the hard work I put in, and without me asking, they hooked it up. Which is what Discraft does. If you put in the work, they're always going to, I feel like, do the right thing by you. And I think that's why a lot of people want to come to the team, and a lot of people think that Discraft is the best team on the planet. And it's because they really care about their players, and we're not a selfish group, I take the role as captain, and I know Missy does, very seriously, very, very seriously. I'm involved with a lot of different things, and I enjoy it. But I enjoy it because I feel like when my fingerprints are on things can be a little bit more successful with the stuff that I know and the things that I've been through in the game. And they've allowed me to kind of take that leadership role to a level that I know Brodie and I have gone back on this conversation of, there's not really a team. But if there is, Discraft's the closest thing that we got, and I think that's a hard thing to do in a game where it's an individual sport. And I think that we've done a really good job of at least keeping some sort of that sort of aura around what's going on in our company.
Missy, do you see that going away? This idea that, I don't know if Innova was the first maybe to come up with it, and some of these other companies have kind of decided that's the route of, players getting names on discs and not having to win a world championship. Do you see that maybe going away in the future? For example, you being a very popular player in FPO, like next year, if you win a bunch of tournaments and then don't win worlds, is Discraft going to be like, "Sorry, Missy, you got to win worlds"? Or are they going to start looking at some players being like, "You know what, this is a great marketing move for us to work with this player that we have signed to the fullest ability"?
Yeah, I think it's going to be it's going to get harder and harder for that to happen. But I do think that we've seen it already in not only Discraft, but like you said, in many other companies. I think of right away. I think of Innova, like you said. I know Big Germ got a signature disc. Nate Sexton got a signature disc. They both have accomplished so much both on and off the course. And I think that Innova saw value in that. And then I think of MVP with Simon and Eagle, very similar situations there as well. They're just very popular. They've done other things to get their name out there and to make themselves very marketable. And I think that as we move on, and it's not just about the world titles, I think as players we still feel that we all want a world title, but I think that as the sport grows and as more eyes come on the sport, there's other things that are valuable to companies, and that definitely drives that's a motivating factor for them to put our names on discs, and it's no longer just about the world titles. And I think that's okay. And I think that, again, it's a business. Everybody's trying to run a business, whether it's your own, what you want to do as a player, and also as a company. At the end of the day, it's a business, and I think that there's a lot of different things that the companies are going to be looking for to see value in their players.
How do you feel about the women's game right now? Another year has come and gone. Disc golf is kind of, I think, solidifying itself a little bit after the crazy COVID boom that we saw. How are we feeling about the women's game? Where it's at, fan interaction, viewership, purse money?
Mm-hmm. Well, I do think that I've seen a couple of comments that they're kind of comparing us to the WNBA, and just being able to see a little bit more variety in the talent and the abilities of our top FPO players. I think we obviously always, we have a long way to go, but the fact that people are already kind of making those comparisons is pretty cool. And I don't think it goes unnoticed. I've seen it, and I read comments, and I do kind of keep in the know about things, but for that to even be a comparison that we're seeing now is really cool. I think, like I said, we still have a long way to go, but we are obviously seeing a lot of parity, just like we were seeing in NPO. I feel like within the last couple of years, where we weren't sure who was going to win any given weekend. I think Gannon is the obvious kind of pick this season, but we're still seeing a ton of different winners come out of the NPO, and this year we've seen a lot of different winners come out of the FPO. So I think it's getting more exciting, it's getting more competitive, and there aren't quite there are more picks for any given weekend than I feel like we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, it was pretty much just Kristen,
Mm-hmm.
and now you, Hall, and a couple other ladies have definitely stepped up to where that's a little bit more difficult course to course. I mean, Owens had some great wins as well. I don't know if I've asked you this when you've been on, but where do you see the future with the Pro Tour going? Do you view it as being FPO and MPO together like a tennis product? Or do you view it more like the golf route where they're two separate tours?
I think we might have talked about this, but I can't remember if it was this podcast or not. But I think I've said before that I do see a future where there are two separate tours. I think it's well in the future, unless we can have another sort of entity come in like the Disc Golf Pro Tour that maybe is just for the women's side. But again, I think we're years apart from that. And it's funny because I do tend to watch both PGA and LPGA, just because I'm curious how those tours run. And there is an obvious difference between the quality of production.
Yeah.
It's pretty glaring, and I've chuckled at it before watching it because I'm like, man, this is probably what our future is going to be like, which is not great, but also is, it depends. We don't know how it all can shake out. I think we need more sponsors. I think we need more big sponsors, whether it's alcohol, whether it's, products, whatever. We still have a long way to go just as a pro tour to get those big sponsorships. But yeah, I do certainly see a future where we're separate. Hopefully we can get the women's field to grow in a way that we can have a self-sustaining separate tour. Because I think that there are many, many, many MPO players that are kind of waiting to get on tour and figure out how to do that, while still trying to, kind of. There's a limitation on the number of people that can be on the field at any given weekend. So yeah, I think we're years away from that unless we can find more private venues that maybe have multiple courses that we can kind of flip-flop divisions on either course. But yeah, I don't know. We're a ways away, but I do see that in the future.
Yeah, Yuli, real quick, I just want to add to that because I had a thought. Because it's a very interesting one, because I was on the other side of the fence with this because it didn't pertain to me necessarily, but I can see certain people's point of view of where they're saying that representation is like a huge thing, right? You'll have someone of color say, like, by me being in the sport and being the limelight, I now have other people that look like me being like, oh, that can be me. And like growing up as a kid, I always just kind of looked at whoever was like the best, like Serena Williams. I've used this as an example. Like Serena Williams was someone as a young kid, like I looked to that person as like motivation to go out and play tennis because she was just dominant. But I understand that there might be some people out there that have to be like, hey, I'm going to pay attention to something that looks like me or I can kind of relate to. And I would say that is the FPO's biggest hurdle right now, is the majority of people that play disc golf, the majority of people that consume disc golf are men. Mm-hmm. So they are going to probably watch men play. Mm-hmm. And so any advice or any thoughts on like, how do you get more women interested or women involved in disc golf?
Yeah. It's funny that you say about. I mean, I think you're totally right that the majority of our consumers are men, and they're likely going to want to watch their favorite male players. But I do think every time I do signatures after the round or whatever, I always hear maybe it's. Well, no, it's a variety of ages, but many of the guys are like, hey, I watch FPO because I feel like they're more realistic to what I can do. Now, I think that might still be a very small
it's
subset.
A minority, of course. Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think that I keep hearing that, and every single weekend, it's more fun to watch you guys because I feel like I can relate to your shots a little bit better, even though you still would beat me. They always kind of like filter in a little compliment in there, but I think to be able to answer your question, to be able to get more women in the sport, I think it's a really hard question to answer. I think we just need to continue to have more ladies leagues. I think more and more we're getting guys. For instance, I had a really good experience in Colorado where I learned how to play disc golf. The local clubs were so open to the women that did come and were involved in the local leagues. And I think that's really, really important to feel supported by the majority of people that are at your weekly league. And, it's easy to kind of like, not think about the women that are coming and whatever, but like, luckily I did not have that experience. Everyone, opened their arms to me and the maybe 3 to 4 other women that would come every week. And I think that was a major stepping stone for me to even feel confident coming out and playing it. So much so that by the second year that I was in that league, I decided to play MA3 and just see what I could do, because I was getting better quickly, and nobody was against that. Everyone was like, sure, let's see. And I think I came in like 3rd in MA3 or something, which was pretty big compared to the field.
Is that scary to enter in a tournament like that and know that you're playing against like all men? Is that a weird, is that a hurdle you think that is out there for a lot of women that maybe prohibit them from wanting to play?
Maybe. Again, I can only speak to my circumstances, which was not that.
Okay.
I was very much welcomed into it, but I can certainly see situations where I think that people would be intimidated by that, whether it is the woman that's trying to play them in the men's field or the men not really wanting this woman to play. And I don't know. There are definitely there's so many different people out there. There are so many different communities. And while in general, the disc golf community is very inclusive and everybody wants everyone to have fun, for the most part, I do feel like there are probably very many situations where that's not the case. Again, I don't know fully other than my own experiences, but I do want to encourage anybody out there that maybe is experiencing that kind of like discouraging behavior in their own local club, or maybe they're the people that are perpetuating that behavior, just to remember that like as a sport, we're trying to grow, and it just doesn't help anybody to discourage anybody from doing something in our sport, something good, and just playing, no matter who you are or what you're trying to do. I had a great experience. I think you just have to put yourself out there, and it's not going to always be comfortable. I also think that not a lot of people, maybe not a lot of women are like me, where I'm not easily intimidated by anybody. So like I wouldn't have cared if somebody didn't want me to be there. I would have done it anyway. But that's, again, it takes a certain kind of person to be able to feel that confidence in those situations when you're learning something. I even think about like pickleball. We were down in Florida in Jacksonville when we had our team thing. That was the first time I ever played pickleball, and I was intimidated by all of the people that were so invested in the sport already, and I was just trying to learn. And I could hear people say, I was hearing the people that were at those local pickleball event pickup games. It wasn't even like legitimate. It was just like people coming down and playing for fun. But I could hear people saying like, oh, what court do I want to play on? Oh, I don't want a charity case. I'm not going to go to that court. Like, I'm like, are you crazy? Like, I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I need to find somebody who's nice and just wants to play for fun and go play on that court, because it is intimidating. I can understand that, that being the case in all different sports, and disc golf just the same. So anyway, I rambled. That's what I do. So whatever. But yeah.
I had a question that like almost goes directly with what he was kind of saying. At least they can kind of marry each other. What do you think? Is there obligation that you guys have to grow the sport? And what is that? Do you think that you playing and winning tournaments is enough? Or do you think because, let's say, the FPO division is smaller, less people watch it, what can you guys do to, is it almost the same question, but as far as like your own brands and stuff, I see a lot of people like yourself get out there and you do clinics and you do all these things, but then I also see other people who are just really focused on playing, same in our division, but it seems like more people are really investing into themselves, which in turn grows the sport. Like take Brodie and myself, for example, we do all kinds of stuff because we want to get more eyes on it and bring more disc golfers in and those types of things. I don't see that push, and it might be an intimidating thing to do as well, to get on, make a podcast or do a YouTube channel or go do a clinic by yourself or go to a school or do those things. Do you think that people should take that more as an obligation? Like, you need to do this, because of the success that you have, or do you think it just goes like par for the course for different people?
It's funny because I definitely I do those extra things to an extent, mostly on, working with like Uplay, but they are the ones orchestrating it and I'm just invited to be a part of it. That's a little different, it doesn't feel quite as like heavy to do that type of thing. Whereas if I had to go out and like organize the whole thing, I would maybe feel like it was taking away from my ability to prepare for the event. Right. Whereas if I'm just invited to go later in the afternoon after I've already practiced, I don't feel that much of a weight on my schedule. At least that's how I feel. I do feel like I have often felt like I should do more. And I am doing some of those things, like I said, but I do feel like, what if I did more practice round, videos, or what if I did more YouTube content to be like women specific? For instance, my mother-in-law is like picking up the sport right now in her 60s because she's been watching us do this for so long that she used to play ultimate frisbee. She used to really love throwing frisbee, and now she's learning to play. So she's looking up videos on YouTube, and she commented just this last weekend how she can't find a lot of women posting videos about technique and form and things like that. Now we are getting more and more of that as of late, but I do think that there is a lot lacking in that space. And that when she says stuff like that, I'm like, man, I guess, that's why I feel like I should be doing more. And it's not just me, it's a lot. I think all of us could be doing more. But again, it's like a balance between what is my priority, what am I most focused on? And I am going to take the selfish route is as far as I can say. And I'm not even saying that negatively. I think that I don't know how long I have left in the sport.
Right.
Nothing is ever certain. So like I am 100% focused on my results and how I prepare to get those results that I want. And nothing else matters. And I don't feel guilty about that, but I do feel like there's a little bit of me that feels like I should do more. And so, I think there's probably a lot of us that feel that way. And so, it's such a tough balance to juggle. And I do think again, like a lot of us could be doing more of that, but I can't. I mean, I can't fault anyone else for not doing it because I feel the same way. Like I need to focus on my personal goals. So yeah.
Do you have anything coming up with Discraft special releases or anything with the MVP win and tour championship that people should know about?
Well, we're trying to figure that out because it's it's late in the season, and I don't I want to make sure we do something that's I don't know, more meaningful than just like a disc release or something like that. Mm-hmm. So TBD, but it's.
I thought you said CBD for a second. I was like, all right. That's a cool sponsorship coming up. Sweet.
To be determined. But yeah, nothing that I can say here right now. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So definitely everyone keep your eyes and ears open for any news coming. Missy, we appreciate you jumping on. Always a pleasure talking with you. I know it might not be a major in the record books, but I think this next tournament is a big one for you guys, and I know we'll all be watching and rooting you on. So good luck out there.
Actually, wait. I want to say something. I did watch last week, a little bit of it, because this stuff is so long. I am telling you guys.
Hey, some people like it, but I get it. Yeah.
Hey, we're one of the shorter podcasts, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. I want to comment on my forehand into the green on hole.
Oh, yeah. We were shocked.
What were you doing?
I was like, this is her perfect backhand putter shot that I've seen her throw thousands of times.
I wanna feed into the conspiracy. I think I read this somewhere that it was a power move on my part.
Show dominance.
Right. We just saw my closest competitor, who is very proficient in a lot of shots, not make that shot happen, and that I only threw the forehand because she threw a blue Lucid Justice.
Oh.
So I chose to throw my blue Z Swarm into the green and make the shot happen just as a power move and flex on her. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna feed into that conspiracy.
I like it.
It made me laugh, and I thought it was.
That's funny.
It was funny.
Wow.
It's a big power move. I'm not gonna lie.
The people will
That's
never know the
incredible.
true answer, I guess. But wow. Okay. Thanks for bringing that up. That was definitely a shocking moment when I saw that down the stretch. I was like, what is
couldn't believe
happening? But you pulled it off. That's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So congrats on the win, Missy. Good luck coming up here. And we'll all be watching, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for
All
having
right,
me.
appreciate it. Have a great night. All right, folks, before we get to our next guest, I've got to shout out our next sponsor, Discbox here. Many disc golfers have tons of extra discs cluttering up our closets and cars. There are very few storage products on the market that are designed specifically for golf discs and that don't waste any space. And unfortunately, the ones that do exist are terribly expensive. Thankfully, there is Discbox. Discbox is the only low-cost disc golf storage product on the market. Discbox is a simple disc storage bin that holds up to 30 discs, requires no tape, no glue, and is made from recycled material in the US of A. Go to discboxdg.com and you will find quality discounts, wholesale options, multiple colors, and most importantly, no order minimums. So you can order just a single box if you want. Discbox, it also makes a great player pack item. Visit discboxdg.com today and get your collection organized. Use our code FOUNDATION for 15% off your order. All right, let's bring him in here. I don't know what his nickname is. Everyone's got a new nickname for this guy, and I guess we have to keep giving him a new one every time he wins a tournament. Here we have him. James Proctor joined Tour Life once again. James, what's going on, brother?
How y'all doing?
Hey, we're doing good. We're living one day at a time over here, one day at a time. I guess, yeah, first question. What's with the new nicknames? What's going on here? What's happening?
I don't know. I mean, they kind of took the proctologist.
Yeah, I
and
heard
they
that
really
one.
ran with that one. I'm not going to say it's my favorite, but sorry, I'm like hearing, oh, there we go. That's better.
You good?
Is that good?
Yeah, we can
Do
hear
you
you
have a
fine.
nickname that you've had in the past? Maybe when you were a kid?
I mean, everyone like in high school, it was just Proctor or Proc. That was, people didn't even know my first name.
Yeah.
That's just what it was. And so, not really. I wasn't a huge nickname guy. It was just Proctor or Proc.
This guy Z Hutch just says that one stinks. I think as your first nickname that people are, disc golf running something into the ground on coverage. We've never seen that done before. But yeah, hey, congratulations. I want to say that this is your first big win. If you want to come at me on that, that's fine. Swedish Open, I know, big win overseas, a little bit of a smaller field, doesn't really have the history that Maple Hill does. Do you agree that this is your really first big staple win that you've had on tour?
I think Swedish Open was a big win. I agree. It's not the same event that Maple was. I think Maple was my biggest win.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can argue that. But, at the time, Swedish had Paul, it had Rick, it had Calvin, Niklas. There's some players in that field. So, in my mind, it was a big win. At the time, it was my biggest win. So, I might push back on that, but I will agree, Maple is my biggest win, and it's not close.
For sure, a building block too. Swedish Open win. You know what I mean? To have that experience.
I was just saying, if you had to pick a tournament to win outside of the majors, I think a lot of people are picking Maple Hill. Like, I think that is one of the events that a lot of guys want to win that event. I mean, heck, we saw like what Maddie did last year, right? When he won it, like that, he was super stoked that it happened at that event. So that's what I meant by that kind of.
For sure. I agree with you there 100%.
So something came out on social media. I think it was from another round disc golf or another. Is there another round? Is that what it is? Yeah, another round. They messaged you because they saw on coverage that you kind of on that before the big putt from the drop zone, you kind of paused and like looked down at your wrist. I would love for you to kind of share that story and maybe share like what the meaning of that is for everyone and what it is that you were looking at.
Yeah, so I have a wristband on my wrist. I haven't taken it off since he passed, actually before he passed away. When he was diagnosed with cancer, we all got wristbands, and he was probably the closest friend and mentor I've ever had. He was the principal at the school that I taught at, and we just had a very, very close relationship. And he was a professional and semi-professional tennis player. So he kind of got the competitiveness and sports aspect of kind of what my life was becoming. And so I was, I would talk to him a lot and about different tournaments and situations. And he passed away from cancer in 2022. And so, he's just someone that I still talk to all the time. And so that was, he would say weak ass all the time. If something was bad or if you did something wrong, he would call you a weak ass. He would say this was weak ass. And so excuse my language, but so the wristband says weak ass on it. And sometimes when I'm really want to make a putt or I feel like I'm going to miss it or, so I'll just talk to him and I'll promise him that I won't be a weak ass and I'll, give it my best. And so that's what that was. I'm sure if you go back, maybe you can catch it. I don't do it on every putt. I think I did it on the putt on 16 as well. But yeah, that's, another round reached out to me because they had noticed it. I think from Gannon's video that Gannon filmed because that was kind of uncut and you could just follow me the whole time.
Yeah.
And so that's what that was. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I would love for like more of these stories to kind of come out because it kind of gives a little bit of like more context and gives something now for people to kind of pay attention to moving forward. So that was I love that you kind of shared that with everyone as well. Let's jump into it. Jump putt controversy here. It is something that everyone loves to kind of throw in their 2 cents. It's a little bit of like the Monday morning after the Sunday football games, everyone kind of throwing in, blaming the refs, blaming this call, whatever it is. Whenever someone jump putts, and really whenever someone jump putts well, it seems to always kind of come out. Now, we've seen it with like Kristen Tatar, where she just literally doesn't jump putt anymore because there was so much people pushing her, saying that her putt was illegal. Chris Dickerson has come out and said that he's stopped doing step putts now because of he doesn't want to kind of follow that fine line. Thankfully, Silas, you can throw the photo up. Thankfully, someone came out and actually showed a still frame of the disc out of your hand and your foot still on the pad. So it was a completely legal throw for all those people that want to say that it was illegal. It was a completely legal throw. But what are your thoughts on it?
We photoshopped that for you, by the way. Yeah, you always big
Size
time.
is pretty good. Size is pretty good. But yeah, what are your thoughts on it? Because it is something that people love talking about so much. So what are your thoughts on jump putting, step putting? Should the circle be pushed back? What do you think?
So I actually hadn't heard anything about that putt and me foot faulting. I don't pay attention to, I don't even have Reddit. So I know a lot of people have like come up and said stuff on Reddit and I haven't heard anything about that. I haven't seen and I don't pay attention to a lot of it. I've seen some step putts that are like, ooh, that's questionable. But it's the integrity of the putt. They're not trying to cheat. I've never had a problem with it. If you're outside the circle and you make the putt, you deserve to make the putt. I don't have an issue with it. I've never seen a jump putt look egregious. So I'm kind of confused that people even had noticed it or broke it down frame to frame. But then again, I have no idea. I've never paid that close attention to it. As far as like the circle, I've heard talks about a 15-meter circle. I have no issue with it. I'm not someone who jump putts at 11 meters. You know, that putt was uphill. You know, it's pretty far back there. So obviously I jumped that one, but I think it's interesting. I think it's worth a shot to scoot the circle back. I think very rarely do, you know, certain people who putt right on that edge of circle line, who are hoping to be right outside as opposed to right inside. Even then, you know, they're not making 100% of them. So I don't have an issue with it. But I would be curious to see how it played a further circle. Mm-hmm. You know, I think obviously, go ahead.
Yeah. I also think that from my experience watching the best putters in the world, I think the best putters don't jump from circle's edge. Yeah. You know, I think it's the people who struggle with putting that can't, from that distance, that can't wait to get there because they think it helps them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the people who are really good at putting, like Gannon's not jumping from 30 something feet. He can, and sometimes we see him to get a little more pepper on it or something. But I mean, take it back to even like Ricky or Macbeth. I mean, the greatest winning putters that we've seen in this generation, they're not jumping from that. I feel like moving it back, you're going to have the same problem, you know?
Yeah, and exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, you know, do we move it back for MPO, not FPO? Because I think FPO, you know, they would suffer more than we would benefit from a farther circle. And yeah, I mean, you're right. I think, you know, I don't see a huge issue with someone letting go of the putter and their foot is a half inch off the ground. I don't, you know, it's sort of like in baseball now, how we get so close to, did he actually tag the guy in the replay and all that? Like, is that the spirit of the game? It's wishy-washy. I don't know. But I didn't know that people were still framing that putt, calling it a foot fault.
They still frame everyone.
That's funny to me. Yeah. I get it with the step putts because half of your body's over the lie, but with a jump putt, like both your feet are back there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah.
So I think my comparison, baseball's a good one. My comparison is the NFL rule of the force out, right? They used to have this rule of where if you went up and caught the ball near the sideline and your feet were going to come in contact in bounds, but some player pushed you while you were in the air and forced you out of bounds, that used to be a catch. And it used to be a very, very tough rule for the refs to decide, like, was he going to get his feet down? Was he not? So they just completely did away with it. Yeah. That's what I think should happen here, is just completely do away with the rule. If you want to jump from behind your disc and throw the disc in midair, go for it. Right. And now I think this would be kind of silly at the 33, because then you would start getting like the Michael Jordan run up and people would be launching and getting like 15 feet away from the basket and tossing it. Yeah. But at a certain distance, right? Let's figure out that is. What is it? 60 feet? If someone wants to get a 10-yard running start and launch from 60 feet and jump in the air and toss, if anything, that's like probably one of the cooler things you could do in disc golf. Like, that's actually a cool thing if someone got...
You're just going like this.
Yeah. And we even talked about this too, is like what this opens up, James, is this now means that if you're stuck behind a tree, you could jump behind your disc and lean out around the tree and throw around trees. If people want to do this, one, I think it takes away the whole, because let's be honest, who actually knows if it's a legal jump putt or set? I don't know. When you watch it, you have no idea to your eye. You have no idea. Like you were saying, half the people thought you were illegally jump putting here, and clearly you weren't. So it's impossible to tell. And then also, we now add a little bit of athleticism, something that is, if people want to jump from behind their disc and throw the disc, I mean, go for it. Why not?
I think you hit it on the nail too. Nobody's calling people on foot faults who are missing a bunch of putts too. It's when you start making a bunch of putts, people are like, something's wrong here, man. Like something's going on with this guy that I don't know. And I don't like it. I dealt with it big time. Back in the day, James, you know this, I used to step putt and I was pretty dirty with it.
Yeah.
And then finally people were like, no, that's illegal. And people came at me hard, but I was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just remove
yeah.
it so it doesn't have any impact on the game.
I think, I already have no issue with it from 33, 40 feet, whatever. Like, you make the putt, you earned it. It's not like the putt got that significantly easier if your foot was a little bit off the ground. And I think if we scoot the circle back to 45 feet, the putts are that much more difficult already. Like, I'm not going to have any issue with somebody being borderline, whether it was foot was on the ground or not. Like, they're earning that stroke. Putting's hard enough. So, I don't know. I think it's funny that people were calling that a foot fault. But
well, if you missed the putt, no one would have cared. I'll say that. No one would have looked. No one would have said that it was a foot fault and you still missed. But
yeah.
All right. Another thing I want to talk about here: score watching. Did I hear this right? Did you have no idea what the score was?
I had no idea.
Okay, there's been multiple winners now. We've heard it from Eagle. We've heard it from a lot of FPO players. I'm trying to think of another person that doesn't look at scores off the top of my head. There's been a couple. Eagle's the last one that I remember definitely said it. I think there was an event with Kristen. Kristen didn't know that she won Waco. So what is it? What do you just feel like the courses and the way disc golf is currently set up? Because if you said that in golf, you would be insane. Like, everyone knows what they have to do in golf down the stretch. Do you think there's not a lot of decision making in disc golf to where if you're winning by one or if you're losing by one, it doesn't really change how you would play?
A couple things went into that decision. First of all, I know you're not safe going into 18, so it's not like I'm going to lay up a putt on 17. I want every stroke I can get. Mm-hmm. Certain courses, like, I'm just trying to think, USDGC is one. OTB in Stockton, that hole 17 can be dangerous. So those holes, maybe I would want to know going into 17. This course, I'm trying to birdie 17 no matter what, because I know anything can happen on 18. And then I would have asked, had I thrown a good tee shot on 18 and I would have had an option to go for the island on the second, I would have asked. I would have wanted to know. But given where my tee shot landed, it didn't matter. I was laying up no matter what. So at that point, Allie had told me after I threw it in the woods, all you need to do is par. So, at that point, I was like, okay, just get up and down for par. That's all that matters. But it was very situational. I think certain courses I would want to know going into 17. Up before 17, I'm just playing smart. I'm trying to birdie. If I'm out of position, I'm laying up. Like,
your game plan doesn't really change.
It doesn't change. If I'm losing, tied, winning by 4, I'm going to try to throw a good shot on 16. I'm going to try to throw a good shot on 17. Like, my game plan's not changing. So me knowing doesn't do any good for me.
Now that I know that people don't watch, if I'm ever in the hunt going into 18, I'm going to be like, whew, good thing you got a 1-stroke lead there, Proctor.
Yeah, you're winning by 1. You're like, gosh, you got me by 1 here, man. I'm gonna have to throw in or
Good
something.
Win. No, I won't go that far. I won't go that far. But
so, do you think that's a flaw in course designs to where you're not really caring about the score down the stretch because your game plan wouldn't change? Like, do you want to play on courses where your score matters down the stretch and how you play the holes will change?
If we're talking about Maple, is 17 like the best hole in the course? No. You're trying to everyone's trying to birdie it. I don't really know how you would change that. I think Maple is a great course. I think, the finishing stretch, birdieing, I think 14 is a super swing hole. 15 being kind of a must birdie, like strokes are to be had there, 16 obviously. So I don't think it's necessarily a flaw on course design. I think it's more of my style of play to where I'm not really going to get baited into doing something I'm not comfortable doing. And I'm not really going to change my shot a whole lot. Like, I'm kind of a high percentage gap, trust my putt guy. I'm not trying to park the hole. I'm trying to give myself a look and knock down the putt. And so my game plan doesn't get persuaded too much depending on how the course is laid out. I'm trying to think, like, for USDGC, you're trying to birdie 16, 17. I might play it safer on the island, but I'm still going for the island and trusting myself to make the putt. Even if I have to go birdie to finish, I'm not going to try to park 17. I'm going to throw it to the meat of the island and make the 30-footer. And and then 18 plays how 18 plays. But, you know, I don't think it's necessarily a huge knock on course design. I think it's just more of my style of play.
Gotcha. Are we going to see you with like horse blinders if like disc golf ever starts getting like the score keepers out there and the big scoreboards and everything? Are you just going to have to like lock in so you don't see any of that?
Like they had the scoreboard and I chose just not to look at it. Like I noticed it a couple of times and I noticed the names and I just looked away. But, you know, after that putt on 15, I had a camera in my face the entire rest of the round. I'm walking down the fairway. There's a camera right here. So I had an idea. Like, you know, I don't know the exact scores. I don't know who the person is behind me. It could have been Goose. It could have been Rick. I had no idea it was Paul. But I knew the situation. I knew if I kept Brodie in, I was in control of my own destiny. You know, you can't hide from all of it, right?
Gotcha.
And you can kind of feel it too, right?
Yeah,
like you know, I'm playing good,
stuff,
and when I'm playing good, nobody can do what I'm doing right now. I probably have this.
Yeah, like at least, you know, if I keep birdieing, I control my own destiny. Yeah. And that's kind of what I told myself. Like, it doesn't matter who's behind me or who's in front of me. You know, if I throw this tee shot good and I make the putt, it is what it is.
Where do you rank yourself on tour for putting? Where would you put yourself?
I mean, so, you know, everyone says Marweed's name first, and I agree, circle one. Paul's had an incredible season as well, so I would put Paul's name in there. If you're talking putting, I think that includes C1 and C2.
Yep.
I'm putting my name at the top. You know, I know Bell has had a great season putting, both too. Gannon, I think it's situational as well. You know, both of my wins have been with putting down the stretch.
Yeah.
It's something I hold a lot of pride in. So, you know, I think there's a handful of guys that any given week are going to be number one, are going to lead the field in putting. But I think, you know, if you include C1 and C2 and you include situational, I'm putting my name up there.
Yeah, I like it.
I was saying the whole week on Jomez, I don't know if you watched any of the coverage or whatever, but I kept saying, like, no, this guy's the best putter in the world. Everybody talks about Gannon. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Proctor's cold, man. He's cold. And then, you know, Jeremy even said it like down the stretch. He was like, man, you've been calling this the whole time. And so thanks for making me look good on there, because I've been pushing the Proctor name on top with Gannon and those guys for a very, very long time.
I appreciate you. I had to call Jerm out a little bit.
Do you ever have a bad putting day?
Yeah, I do. But honestly, a bad putting day for me is like, you know, if I miss 2 C1s, that's awful. Okay. I'll give myself one miss. Putting's not easy. You're going to have, you know, you're going to miss every now and then. Like, I'm not like, oh, I got to be perfect.
But there's not a day where you wake up and you're just like, I can't hit the basket. Like, that doesn't exist.
It's like, no, that's silly. That's silly stuff.
All right. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
How long has it been like that?
I'd say the last 2 years. I mean, 3 years ago, I was not great. I was not great at C2. I had a little bit less spin on my putt, and I would come up short a lot, or I would put them too high, and I was trying to loft them. And so that off season, after the 2022 season, I started spin putting a lot just to teach myself to have more spin. And then kind of worked it back into my normal putt just with some more spin, and that gave me more range. And I think the last 2 seasons, you know, I've felt extremely confident on the putting green.
Yep. Love that. You want to give me a little breakdown? Because I think you're probably the highest. Yeah, I think you're the highest profile player that isn't signed under one big disc contract, right? You kind of went the open bag route. So can you give a little bit more of a breakdown of what that looks like and how that works for you?
I mean, so my 2 main sponsors are Infinite and Dot Space, and they both pay me the same. They're 50-50. I have a smaller company, Alpha, out of Norway, that supports me, and I have a signature disc with them. But, you know, as far as my contract state, I have to throw 1 mold from each company, and the rest of my bag can be filled with whatever I want. You know, and the beauty of Infinite is, like, for example, I throw a zone, and I can just, you know, I do my in the bag. Here's my zone. You can find them on Infinite. You can find them on Discraft, obviously, but that way I'm still able to plug Infinite. But I think, you know, Aaron is the owner of Thought Space, and one of their main best-selling discs is the Pathfinder. It's a straight mid-range. And the fact that I'm able to throw a rock or a buzz or, whatever other mid-rangers are on the market, but I choose to throw a Pathfinder has some weight to it. The fact that I make that choice and I still throw the Pathfinder over those other mid-ranges. So, he kind of worded it that way, and I kind of use that as a selling point. But honestly, everyone's making good discs now. But I believe in the product. And so, my bag's kind of a mix. I still have a lot of old Innova. But yeah, I get supported by multiple companies. They don't have to, cut the huge check as if they were the sole sponsor. They can split it 50-50. And then, for me, I have, it kind of adds up to a decent amount, probably comparable to what I would be getting at other bigger companies. It's just split up between a couple smaller ones.
How much are we talking to get cap wrap in there per month?
Honestly, I've thrown.
Message me a little bit,
I threw. What were the ones that the first like Jawbreaker Z, the ones that came out that Corns had in Seattle and the Washington tournament.
Z-Flex, yeah.
Those ones have made appearances in my bag.
Okay.
But I haven't had a cap wrap yet, so maybe I'll got to test one of those out.
Test it out. Maybe we can come up with a number.
So after having success this year, 2 wins, this has definitely been your most successful year. You're being open bag. I'm sure you love the discs that are in your bag. Does that mean that if someone was to come to say, hey, we want you to only throw Discraft, we want you to only throw Latitude, we want you to only throw Discmania, does that come with a premium then? Or are you willing to do like a one-on-one switch? If you're being able to get paid and they're going to be able to promote you, how does that look for you? Are you gonna have to be like, hey, you got to roll out the little red carpet for me to want to switch right now?
I'm not motivated to switch. I like where I'm at. I love working with the smaller companies. I like my bag. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's a business decision. If someone were to offer me something that was substantially more than what I was getting, I would be very motivated to make that switch. But I know the market's crazy right now. I know a lot of teams are changing their teams and the way they sponsor players. And, I think this offseason is going to be kind of wild. So I'm very thankful to be where I'm at and with the companies I'm with. And, I'm not motivated to go out and seek, a big deal or a different contract. But, at the end of the day, if one presented itself, I would probably have a decision to make.
Yeah, go ahead, Uli.
I was going to take them back off topic. So if you have another,
no, go.
Yeah. So last year, breakout season, you finished, I think, top 10 in Pro Tour points. You were way up there. And then this season starting off, the finishes weren't like last year. And then all of a sudden something flipped. You win the Swedish Open, you have a couple good finishes, and then Maple Hill. Obviously, after last year, you're probably motivated to win. You're like, okay, I got the feel for the tour, and now it's time for me to get the big win. Was that tough with the tough start that you had to remain confident and be like, no, I'm still Proctor. I proved last year that I can get in contention? Or what was that like mental battle with for the first half of the year or till you won Swedish Open? Because we weren't seeing you on lead cards like we were accustomed to.
It was super tough. I had, I was chasing those finishes from last year. And I was searching for reasons why I wasn't performing as well. And, I kind of had to check myself. I started caring more about my finishes and placements than I did about enjoying the game. And that's, I think, what contributed to a lot of my success in 2023 is I was just having so much fun out there. And so, yeah, I had to kind of take a step back and really just try to find the love of the game again and enjoy myself and kind of let things happen. I think I was trying to force them in the beginning of the season. And, I think the first 3 tournaments I got like 23rd, 24th, and 28th. And from then on, I was, just searching for that top 10 and searching for this. And it was becoming more frustrating. And I just felt like I kind of lost what I had. And so I stopped those comparisons and really just had to separate my identity from those results and just fall in love with the game again and enjoy playing. And I think that's one of the reasons I've been able to find success in the second half of the season is I'm just back to having fun again.
There was someone that made a comment, and I'm sure you didn't see it because you're not paying attention to the comment, which is a very smart man. But they made a comment after you won at Maple Hill, and I think this goes to show two things. One, sports fans in general are very like, what have you done for me now? Like very biased in the short term. And then also two, like sports fans are also very uneducated, I think, sometimes when it comes to like the overall landscape of the sport, because someone's like, I like watching James Proctor win because it shows that any of us can go out there and win. And it's like James Proctor is one of the best disc golfers in the world, ladies and gentlemen. What are we doing here? But that just kind of shows you, like, you know, you had kind of a slow start, like Uli was saying, and people just like kind of forget, like, oh no, that James Proctor is actually a really good disc golfer. So it was really cool to kind of see you spin that, because now 2 wins under your belt moving forward, you know, now that's going to put a little bit more pressure, I think, on you, because you're going to have the eyeballs on you of where, you know, beginning of the season, you kind of come off to a slow start. No one's really looking at you and being like, what's going on with James Proctor? Why is he off to a slow start? But going into next year, you are going to have that pressure of where people are going to be scrolling down the leaderboard to try to find your name. So is that something that you like to have? You enjoy having that kind of pressure?
I mean, I had that pressure on myself all season, you know, whether other people were seeing it or not. But I don't really think of it as pressure. You know, I think it's a confidence boost for me. But at the end of the day, I play my best golf when I'm having fun, and I could care less about the results. You know, going into that round, I would have been happy with a top 3. I was going to let Rick and Gannon battle it out, and I would have taken a top 3 as a win. You know, after Rick got off to a hot start and I bogeyed hole 7, I was back to just having fun. And I think, honestly, that bogey on 7 is what won the tournament for me, because I stopped caring really at all about winning or what my finish was going to be, you know. And so that's not going to change next year. And that's not going to change for these last 2 events this season. I think, you know, I'm just going to go out there and have fun. And I found the joy in disc golf again and competing and, you know, kind of developing my game plan and sticking to it. And so I'm really looking forward to next year and, you know, sort of have that monkey off my back. Yeah, there might be more pressure with it, but I'm not really looking at it that way. You know, I think this first half of the season kind of taught me a lesson about worrying about finishes and results and, you know, the expectations I put on myself. So I'm just going to try to, you know, enjoy it and really just keep having fun with it. And yeah, we'll see, you know, kind of how that plays out, but I'm not going to fall into that trap like I did at the beginning of this year.
Love that. Before you go, let's throw up some Madden rankings for you. I don't know if we had these last time, but this is basically we got Edwin Stats here throwing down all your rankings here. So this is based off of the touring pros that have played enough events to qualify for this, right? So 75, I believe, is going to be the lowest. Is it the lowest 75 or is that the average? I can't remember. Edwin will let me know, but I'll read this off for our podcast listeners. We have scoring at 90, power at 90, accuracy at 85, scramble at 91, putting at 96, and an overall of 90. Oh, sorry, it says right there 85. 85 is NPO average, 70 is the lowest there. So you are above average in everything, average in the accuracy department. Some of the calculations here: scoring, your birdie rate is 19th on tour, putting C1X your 5th, C2 putting your 2nd, accuracy your 67th in fairway, 45 green in regulation, 37 in OB rate, scramble you are 8th, and I would love to have seen like what you would be at like the second half of the season. Because like you said, you kind of got off to a slow start. So I'm sure some of those numbers, but just looking at this, what were your thoughts? Is anything low in your opinion? Anything need to be higher?
I mean, I'm shocked that I'm 8th in scrambling. I think, you know, I'm not one of those like wicked forehand guys. I have a great backhand, you know, hyzer flips and flippy discs and stuff like that. But it makes me happy to see that I'm that high in scrambling. You know, just I feel like scrambling is a lot of forehand kind of working angles, and that's something I've been working on. It's something I've gotten better at, but that makes me happy. I think, I think accuracy is probably fair. Some weeks I'm definitely far more accurate than others, but I'm not, one of those super just always putting for birdie type of guys. But when I do get birdie looks, I knock them down. So I think 96 was it 96 for putting?
96 for putting, yeah. Fifth in C1X and second in C2.
I think that could be a 97 or a 98 in putting, but at the end of the day, I can't complain about those numbers. I definitely think I'm a stronger putter than a thrower. So that's they look accurate, but definitely that scrambling, both where I'm at in the Pro Tour and that ranking, that makes me happy because that's kind of been a weakness in the past. And, a lot of that has to do with just keeping it in bounds. Once you throw out of bounds, it's pretty tough to scramble. So
yeah, you're currently the highest putting stat so far on the show.
Okay.
And we've had a decent amount of people on the show.
We've got Rickster and Gannon on here.
Yeah,
so
Isaac. We've had a lot of good putters on here.
We've had some good putters.
Yeah.
I got a question for you though, especially going into these last tournaments. The next question and the next step for you is a major championship. You've got the two, Elite Series. You get Maple Hill. That's like the highest that you could do with the Elite Series plus being a playoff event and everything. You said you play your best when you have fun and you don't care, but we all think it. Once those things are done, what's the next goal? Is that something that's in the back of your mind? Like you could be a major champion, or are you just going to go out there and see what's what? I
mean, yes and no. Like, honestly, if you asked me before Swedish Open and if you asked me before Maple Hill, like, do you think you can win this? Or, is it your goal to get an Elite Series win? I would have said probably not. I've never played that great at Maple in the past. I didn't even cash at MVP, at Green Mountain. I got like 30 whatever, but because the field was so small, I missed cash. So I think, I'm not going to go chase something. If it happens, if I have the opportunity, if I'm lead card last round, yeah, those thoughts will pop into my head. But, you can't win the tournament round one. You can't win the tournament in practice. You can prepare for it, but it's a marathon. And my goal really is just going to be keeping myself in contention and giving myself opportunities. Yeah. And, if I can do that and it happens to be the week of a major, I mean, I'm going to do my best to go take it down, and I'm going to have the confidence that I can. I think this, the MVP win kind of showed me that, Gannon's best player in the world right now. Rick's having an incredible season, and, I came out on top. So, I'll take that confidence with me for sure, but I'm not going to go out and chase something. I'm more of a keep yourself in contention and then, go attack it on the last 9 holes or something. But you can't win the tournament day one. So I'm not going to be too focused on that until that opportunity presents itself.
I've got 2 more questions for you.
Yeah.
First off, which major as it stands right now do you think you have the best chance to win? Which one do you feel like the most confident?
That's a great one. I would say, my forehand is feeling good, and I know, anything can happen on this course. So I feel good going into this week. I think I would say European Open would be, I have experience there, but that's a tough one as well. I would say, honestly, Champions Cup next year. Like, I know OTB is kind of a longer course. Mm-hmm. But I think, if you're just throwing decent tee shots and giving yourself opportunities, I can putt my way to a victory out there. And yeah, I think, any of the majors really, it's just, for me, it's just about getting off to a solid start. I think if I shoot a good round one and I kind of, it's so hard to catch guys. If you're off to a slow start, like, this field is way too good. Yeah. You're toast. And so, I think any of them, honestly, if you would have asked, like, what are my odds of winning Maple Hill as opposed to some other elite events throughout the year, I would have said, very low. I had not done well in the past. So I think that tournament kind of just proved to me,
you can win anything.
It can be any course. Yeah. It can be any course.
Yeah.
Just give yourself the opportunity. Just stay in it. You don't have to, I was 5 back of Rick or 4 back of Rick with 10 holes to go. So
I think it was 6.
Yeah, even more. So, I mean, it just goes to show you, like any course, anytime, just if you happen to be there, go take it. But
all right, final question from me.
Yeah.
We just talked about how incredible of a putter you are. Not that long ago, you were on the bag of someone that would probably win almost every single event if they were like a decent putter.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me. How was that final round being on the bag? Like, with someone that you could clearly be seeing, like having a complete, almost, I don't know what the right word of it was, but like someone that was just falling apart confidence wise. And obviously we're talking about Evelina here at the World Championship. Like what was going on? Were you saying stuff? Were you trying to just act like it didn't happen? Let's move on to the next shot. What was going on through that round? Because for those that don't know, you were caddying for Evelina.
Yeah, and I was trying to coach her through it the best that I could. It's such a mental block with her. She's ready to go. She's pissed off. She's making the next putt. Because I tell her, like, all the time she'll miss the first putt, get pissed off, and then make the comebacker.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't often 3-putt or 4-putt anymore. Sometimes it happens, but looking back on that round, I think it was hole 12. She threw her drive out of bounds, missed the putt, then missed the comebacker, and then she was like ready to give up. And she was like, I'm done. And I said, no, you're not, And the one thing I told her before her birdie putt on 13, I said, don't think about the putt. Don't think about the putter. Think about your feet. Walk up there, make sure your feet are set and balanced, and then go. Don't give yourself time to think about anything else. And, I can't take credit for what she did. She finished that round amazingly, but she did make that putt on 13. And I think that gave her a little bit of confidence. But for her, we've been talking about it all year. And it's so funny because we'll go putt and in practice, she's great. And she even putts harder. And, Henna calls it the bullet putt, and she'll just send it in there. And it's still, an average pace, but for her, it's putting hard. Mm-hmm. But she's mortified to airball it and have a long comebacker. In her head, all she thinks about is how long is my comeback putt? And so in the tournament, that's why she gets that little soft thing. And so, I've been encouraging her more and more to just do her bullet putt and just get used to committing to it, because she makes so many of them. And so, she's been working on that, and I think we're going to see it these last 2 events. But yeah, it's so, I was listening to podcasts about the yips, like after that week, I think maybe even before that week, just really trying to think about different ways that I could help her, and, think about different things that I could say that would trigger something for her, or, whatever it is. But, I think you're right. I mean, she's the best thrower I've ever seen. And, I think that one round in World, she was 18 for 18 with birdie putts.
Yeah, at New London, which is not easy to do for anyone that's played out there.
And I'm pretty sure we played the same pad on a couple significant
holes.
Number of holes.
I think it's like 3 or 4 holes we play the same pad. Yeah.
No, it's more. It's like 7 or 8 holes. I'm pretty sure.
For Worlds, yeah, it might be different.
For Worlds, yeah. Like she's an incredible thrower, and I think the putt for her, it's been years of trauma, honestly, and overcoming that is not easy. So, but she's trying some things. She's working some things out, and I hope the next 2 weeks go very well for her.
Yeah, because I think this is something that a lot of people can relate to, because like you were saying, as good of a putter you are, putting is still challenging. It is still difficult, especially at the amateur level and at a level of where, like you said, you have the yips. We've seen it multiple times. Katrina Allen, we've seen Katrina change. Jennifer Allen, we've seen Jennifer change the way that she putts. We just saw it again with Allie Smith this year, where she's trying to turbo putt from 5 feet. And I'm just like, what is happening? So for those people that have the yips, do you suggest just straight up deconstructing, just completely change your style of putt and try something different?
I mean, I suggest trying whatever you can think of. Obviously don't give up. You're not going to putt your way out of it by trying the same thing over and over, because it's such a I mean, all of the people you've named, and I can speak for Evelina and Allie firsthand, their practice rounds, their practice putting, it's fine. But as soon as the tournament kicks in, as soon as it really matters, it's not that it's a mental block, and their hand is not attached to their brain anymore. You know,
would that change with a different style of putt, you think, though?
Yes.
Okay.
I think there's a chance. I mean, maybe not for everyone, but I think it's worth a shot.
Because like Evelina's putt is similar to like an Isaac Robinson in a way of that they really just fling it out there and they put a lot of spin on it. Like the way that she kind of opens and closes her hand is what I'm saying. She has a very spinny putt. And when you watch Isaac putt, he putts everywhere. Same thing with Ezra Robinson. They putt everywhere like they're going to make it.
Yeah.
And so when they're putting like that, it's just like you're saying, the bullet putt. It's just boom, boom, boom. And when you have that like snap putt that's so reliant on the wrist snap and you're not confident and you've got the yips like you that Evelina has, like that's where it like flutters out of her hand and it just is like a dead putt.
Yeah.
So like maybe changing the actual, like reconstructing your putt completely to where you're not so reliant on the snap and you're reliant more on an elbow, shoulder. Maybe that's something that's easy to replicate because like you were saying, it's all mental if it is something that if she's making putts in practice and then in tournaments she's not making putts, clearly it's all mental. So maybe there is some sort of putt that is better for the pressure to where you're not having to rely on that confidence at the end to snap your wrist.
Yeah, 100%. I don't disagree with you. I think, Evelina, it's funny. I think Ricky actually discovered it. She would, in tournaments, she would have her thumb on the disc, draw it back, and her thumb would come off and slide to like the very edge, and then she would go. And so we've been working the last 2 weeks on like thumb is staying on. Like you do not lift your thumb off the putter when you go, and it's scary because it's new, but it's helping her. And so I think focusing on that might take her mind off other things.
Happening?
No, she had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
She had no idea. Yeah, it was bizarre. She has a video of it on her phone, like realizing it, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, she has really small hands, I don't know, but I don't know where that started.
This goes to Uli'S point about the FPO field.
That's a valid point as well. I think it's a very valid point. But you look at guys like Rick and Gannon and how much pop they generate by, whether it's hands, wrists, fingers. I don't even know how they do it. I've tried to do it. I can't do it either. I have really small hands for my size, but yeah, that was like startling though. And so I think, I'm hoping that that's going to lead to some more success, realizing that she was doing that and kind of fixing that. But yeah, I think,
I used to do that back in the day myself. My thumb would slide. And yeah,
crazy.
For sure. And I finally was like, why is my thumb sliding? And it was just like a natural thing that I had always done. And it took me a long, long time to be like, don't slide.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Evelina's doing right now.
Or you can be like Anthon, his thumb comes off the disc when he throws.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of crazy.
Gosh.
Yeah.
How tight were you clinching those cheeks when Evelina threw that putt on 18 layup and it hit the pole? And
I didn't even see it. I don't know what I was looking at. I think I had a PDGA guy in my ear saying, do not let Evelina drink the champagne until they do the scorecards.
Wait, before she had won the tournament?
Like as she was like laying up to tap in. Yeah. Because
that's crazy.
I went over there because I was trying to get Henna I was going to give Henna my caddy bib so she could be out there.
Okay.
And Henna already had the champagne.
Oh, you're already off the course. Okay, I gotcha.
Well, they were on 18 screen. And so I was over there talking because they were, 30 feet from the basket. And they were like, no, we're going to let him out. But they were like, go tell Evelyn, like, do not let her, get champagne, drink champagne before she does the scorecards. And so as she was laying up, I was kind of like walking back over. So I didn't even see it.
Oh my God. Have you looked at it after the fact?
I've seen it after.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I was for a second there. I was like, oh boy, we're going to have something interesting happening here.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Well,
wild.
Well, if anyone's interested in putting tips, you can hit up Uli. He's got the academy that you can check out, or Proctor maybe this off season, little putting tips around the
I love
Northwest.
talking about putting.
Are you going to be in the Northwest this off season?
I'll be in Northern California.
Okay.
And is that
considered the Northwest? I don't know.
It's just Cali.
Is that
it's
the
Cali.
West? Yeah. Okay.
I only heard like the Pacific Northwest PNW when I was up in like Seattle, Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just Cali.
I don't want to disrespect anyone. All right,
no, you're good.
You'll be on Cali. Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough. All right, brother. Well, if you got anything to plug right now, plug away. If you got social media accounts, anything like that.
We got the new ThoughtSpace Crux actually dropping tomorrow. Very limited on the ThoughtSpace website, but there'll a bunch available on the Infinite website. So check those out. And then, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and maybe we'll do some putting videos this off season. We'll see about that.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, brother. Appreciate it. Good luck this week at USDGC, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, of course. Take it easy. All right, there you have it. Your 2024 MVP Open champion, James Proctor. Always a pleasure having him on here. I think he should go with the name Proctorius. I think that...
Well, you didn't even ask him if he liked it.
Well, he didn't like the previous name, so
yeah,
I'm not calling him that. Yeah, I'm not calling him that.
No, I'm not calling him that.
I like Proctorius. Proctorius! I like Proctorius.
Yeah.
I'll take it. All right. You ready for this?
I am, yes.
Who knows what's going to go on here? This is a man that not only... Oh, God, Jerry. Oh, God. This is a man that has been ready to get on this podcast, and not only him, but a bunch of our listeners has been asking, when the heck is Brad getting on the podcast? Ladies and gentlemen, we have him here. Brad, first time ever on Tour Life officially. You've been in the background a few times, but officially first time. How are we doing, brother?
Dude, I'm in shock. What's going on here?
Why does it look like you're about to take your first day of school photo? What is happening?
Not much of a technological guru. I think you probably got it set up wrong or something.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It does just look like it's your first day of school.
I see tiny little squares. This is it?
Size, can we help? Can we help Brad at all?
You need to get closer to the camera, first of all. You need to get closer because we can't hear you that well.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yes,
really
yes.
good,
We're getting
really
better
good,
now.
yeah.
We're getting better now. Okay, there we go. All right, we're locked, I think. We're good. All
Okay.
right. Oh, man. All right. Well, Brett, how's it going, man? How you been?
Man, I can't complain at all. I mean, I've been great. Got through a little tweak in the knee earlier this year, and I feel good, man. I've been stretching a little bit the last few weeks. I'd gotten a little tight, got away from the foam roller and any kind of physical maintenance, that you should do day to day. And I got a little tight. And I'm like, well, no wonder, Dommy, you got to roll around. You got to keep moving. So I've been stretching a little bit, feeling a little better. I feel fine. Thank you.
Has it been a toll on, you're obviously having to lug around Uli'S cart, but has it been a toll now that you're doing this series of you going out there and just getting beat up on these courses?
That has been quite traumatic. Thank you. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know how I keep making all these numbers. I feel like I've been programmed to make numbers. I don't know. Like Uli once said, I was like, this is horrible. I'm playing like a clown. He goes, dude, nobody cares. Because they don't care what numbers you shoot. Just keep firing away, I'm like, all right. So it's hurt me, though. I've made a bunch of bad numbers, and, that's didn't used to be my style anyway.
What's been the hardest hole you've played this season so far?
Wow. Well, since I'm throwing it pretty much nowhere, I mean.
Well, why is that happening? What happened to your distance?
Well, dude, my move was always high speed, high performance, and kind of has to be worked up to a certain level to even get that adequate move to produce a decent shot. It's like it takes all I got, and when I don't have it completely honed, I'm just, I'm searching. I'm dealing with scraps. You know what I mean? It's like I never get my game to the point where I've played enough to really feel like a well-oiled machine. Kind
Gotcha.
of. You know what I mean?
So you think Uli'S throwing you under the bus a little bit, having you come out here cold playing some of these holes?
No, I mean, Nate Sexton came up with the idea when we were playing a board game in Portland, Oregon, that was about having little pizza shops and, setting up businesses and trying to take over towns and create them. And of course, I wasn't very good at that either, but I did luck my way into a win one time. But they were talking about what could we do with this clown, And it's like, well, how about Brad versus the Bruiser? Nate just pops out of the Wild Blue Yonder with, and it was just like, I love the sound of it right out of the gate. I thought, man, that sounds awesome, and now it seems to be something that's at least rather well received, which has been shocking, overwhelming, and a lot of fun. I love doing it. Even when I make big numbers, as hard as it is to swallow with your pride, I still love doing it,
Now you've had a decent little history in disc golf yourself. So tell the people a little bit about some of the accolades, because I'm sure all the people maybe coming up to you being like, Brad, sign my disc, the Bruiser, sign, all these, your new stardom here on Uli'S YouTube channel. But like, tell the people that maybe don't know some of your accolades that you've had in the disc golf space.
Wow. Thank you for asking. I do feel like that's a little swept under the rug sometimes, but not really. All the guys that are in the game, they know me, know of me mostly, and they're very nice to me and very just incredibly kind, and give me some kind words from time to time. But as Paul will tell you, dude, I love nothing more than talking about disc golf, and sharing some of my great memories is always fun for me. So, like I was chewing this guy Camden, Zach Arlinghouse's caddy. We met him yesterday out there practicing, and I let him have it pretty hard. And, I start feeling like an idiot. It's like, why, like Uli says, why you got to make it about you, bro? It's like, I feel like I'm making it too about me, but I love talking about him. So I'll get to it. My whole mission in life, once I got going with disc golf, and found out that there was a tour and world championships and stuff, I tried to get it going to make it out for the, I saw him leaving in 89. Or no, I saw the hot stamps from the 89 world championships. This dude, like, chunking a disc a certain way, a crazy way, like some type of Roman or something. I remember that. And I was thinking, man, a world championships. I want to do it. I want to be in one, and, tried to get it together in 1990, and was not on top of the ball as much as I could have been, and it rolled around. I didn't make it, but 91, by golly, I was like, man, I'm going. So once I got going, and I had a pretty good finish. I finished T12 in my first World Championships in Dayton, Ohio.
Wow.
And I was in the running for Rookie of the Year with a young man named Greg Penniger from Canada. And we were battling it out, come down the stretch, and I managed to edge him out by a smidgen and somehow got the Rookie of the Year thing. And so that was super exciting, and I was off and running, man. And that last putt on the last hole, I'll never forget it, Brodie. It was the craziest thing. I set up for this putt. It was a birdie putt on like a 380 footer, which was pretty decent sized hole back then. Mm-hmm. And I got up to putt it, and it's like, dude, I was frozen. Like,
you got the yips. We were just talking about the yips.
Dude, it wasn't even yips. It was something other than the yips. Like, I don't know what to do with this disc in my hand. What am I doing here? I mean, it was just like, and finally this is what it felt like to me. Like I just went, ah! You gotta get rid of it. You can throw it, do anything, and it went in, dude. And I'll never forget. Yes, because it was such a miracle. You know what I mean? I was like, what the heck? But that's kind of how it got going for me. And when I found out about the champ, and how good he was and what he was doing in the game, so, eventually, I don't know when it happened, but it was like, I can beat this guy. I want to be the man. I want to take down the champ. You know what I mean? I grew up playing sports and baseball, and I was quite a tennis player. When I got out of high school, I started playing a bit, picked up the game of golf. When I was about 26, 27. And, like you and like all of us, we just love sports, and I always knew in my heart, I'm like, disc golf is a real sport, man. Disc golf is awesome. And I wanted to be a part of it. So when I met the champ, I went down to play the man in 1991 at the Zimbabwe Open Championship in Clearwater, Florida, Cliff Stevens Park.
Why is it called Zimbabwe?
I'm not sure. I don't know, but that was alluring at the time,
You thought you were actually going to Africa and you weren't? You were just going to Florida?
Exactly.
It was a trick?
Yeah, it might as well have been South Africa for me. The champ's land, down in the land of the champ. And so I had this thing written down on a piece of paper. I will return home from Clearwater, Florida, having become the 1991 Zimbabwe Open champion by defeating two-time world champion Ken Climo. Okay. And I used to say it every night before I went to bed. I mean, I was just a fanatic, crazy about it. I think I'd heard about or found Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker, probably not too.
Yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was trying to use any kind of technique that I thought might help me accomplish my goal, And lo and behold, I got down there, and with 6 holes to go, I had a 2-stroke lead over Ken Climo. And I'll never forget it because Nick Sartori was the guy who came up with really one of the first disc golf teams, Flying Eye, and which I eventually became a part of, and I'm real proud of that. But he was on one corner of the tee pad and the champ was on the other. And we had a backup and I had to wait. And I'll never forget it because, I'm looking at the hole. I'm walking out there and I'm thinking, all right, it's like a 275-foot Anheuser mid-range over a little creek. You got to finish right at the end. And I'm trying to size it up. And I'm taking a stable mid-range and going to just power it over a little bit and let it just slowly fade out to the pin. That was the shot I had played there. And I turned around, and when I turned around, I saw Ken Climo, just kind of, it felt like to me, like he was just like, I can't believe this little clown is. And on the other side of the box was Nick Sartori, who was just like, at the time, Climo's promoter, totally behind the champ. And he's just like, just this consternation on his face, just like, and I'll never forget it. I felt it, because I'm the kind of player, I like to go into a bubble and lock in, and I felt the bubble dissolving and the feel of evaporating, and anyway, I step up to throw my shot, and of course what do? I decelled. Didn't finish the shot, not in the shot till the end, and it isers in the water. But that was a big time for me. And we come in, and Steve Slazer, an excellent Florida golfer himself, had gotten a hold of the Viper, which was brand new and hadn't been PDGA approved at the time. And he beat us both, actually. But I finished. Wow. Anyway, I was off and running. I was after the champ, So that was, anyway. It's like I could go on and on. See, I already feel like I've been yapping too long.
No, hey, that's what this podcast is all about. We don't have a length in this podcast, so you're free to tell whatever story you want.
I like that. I like a little more give and take. Whenever I go on and on, I just feel like, Yaposaurus Rex.
Well, I'm sure Uli will cut you off if you say anything too long. So I think you're fine there.
Accolades. Let me see if I can make a.
That was the question. What are your accolades? So far, we have you played a tournament in Zimbabwe with Ken Climo. That's all we have so far.
Decelled on hole 17, and then some other
guy beat him.
Beat both of you.
Listen, people, if your disc golfers is silly and goofy as it sounds, just take it for what it's worth and realize that you can't slip out of the bubble, dude. Don't let you guys on the back of the box distract you. Locked in. Anyway, okay, moving on. Accolades. So, 1991 Rookie of the Year, feeling pretty groovy. Won my first tournament, was a doubles world championship with a gentleman I had never met before named John Schiller.
You met him at the tournament?
I drove into the park and I saw him practicing putting, and I had my girlfriend with me, and I pulled in and I go, Alexia, roll down the window. And she rolled down the window, and I waited till he putted and he made it, and I go, cha-ching! And this guy turns and looks at me and goes, starts practicing putting. Anyway, his name was John Schiller from Colorado, and we started talking before he was about to practice the course.
That was your first time meeting him, is yelling at him, cha-ching?
Cha-ching, that's the first thing he ever heard from me.
And then he didn't respond, and then you proceeded to ask him to play doubles with you?
Well, he didn't verbally respond. He turned towards me, looked at me. What kind of
I
look?
thought you were crazy.
Yeah, oh, here's another disc golf lunatic, you know. Who's this guy screaming cha-ching at me? I guess is what he was thinking. I don't know. That's what it seemed like. Like, who's this crazy person yelling cha-ching at me? So anyway, he turned out to be a super nice guy. And he goes, hey, you want to play for something? And I go, sure. I love a money game. What do you want to play for, a 10 or 20 or something? And he goes, let's just play for a milkshake. I go, love milkshakes. Sounds good. Let's do it.
Huge milkshake guy.
Yeah, love milkshakes. Had one like 2 nights ago. AP and them, and they were all going to the stakeout. And I go, please get me a cherry vanilla milkshake. Handed, paid up front. They forgot it. So I got that. Yeah. So I sat there. You know how when you get it in your mind, like you really want something, and then you're not. So I sat there for 20 minutes, and then I drove up to the store and got the way I make my favorite milkshake is to just buy a quality chunk of ice cream.
Oh, you're making your own milkshake.
He does. Yes, he likes the milkshake. Brad, back to the guy. You cha-chinged him.
Not sure. I cha-chinged him. We're playing for a I beat by 1 shot. I think I shot a 9 under. We played the course blind. You know, we just went 1 shot right out of the gate. Let's go. And I beat him by a shot. And we start talking. He goes, hey, man, do you have a doubles partner? And my potential doubles partner was my very good friend and a guy who was a big inspiration and kept me playing disc golf in my early days when I might have moved on. You know, at first, maybe I didn't see the intrinsic value of it and didn't really lock onto it the way you do when you really get locked in on it. But he was my potential partner. And he was like kind of hemming and hawing, you know, like, yeah, well, we'll probably play. I don't know. I might not. So I said, hey, my partner's a little indecisive, to be honest with you. I mean, I could probably ask him. And he might.
I mean, he's my inspiration, but he's out at this point.
I saw you putt, brother. You're in.
Cha-ching.
I just met a guy, and we had a little milkshake battle, and now he's saying, hey, my guy's hemming and hawing. And I said, well, my guy hemming and hawing. So I go, let's make the phone calls. And we did. And he was like, yeah, go ahead, play with the guy. What do I care? You know, he wasn't that enthused about doubles anyway for some reason. I don't really know why. And so we ended up pairing up. And yeah, that was my first win. Another crazy thing is like every story I have, that's what I mean. I can just go off. These memories pop back in. And I remember I threw it into the ground. Never done it before in my entire life. I get the tee up, straight into the ground off the tee. He comes up with a clutch drive, carries us on that hole. And I don't know if it was the exact next hole. It might have been 1 or 2 later. Instant replay. I throw it straight into the ground.
Oh, no. You're blundering.
Yeah. Never.
So you're throwing it in the ground. You're freezing up.
Dude, yeah, exactly, dude. Freezing up in the last part of the World Championships and getting a T12 and then throwing it in the ground. My guys carried me like a bag of bricks. And but then afterwards, after I burned a couple in the ground, I was able to shake out of it. And I actually came up big down the stretch. I remember he threw some errant tee shots, and I was there. It was like boom, boom, and I was like, okay, we got it going now. We're going. This is good. So yeah, and actually to wrap it up, the last hole was in River Bends, Michigan, and it was this super elevated tee pad. You throw downhill along a tree line on the left side, fair amount of room out on the right, but then it ducks around the corner hard to the left. It's like tucked in there like 90 feet or something. And I'll never forget it. I threw my orange Viper metalhead and just peeled it right down that left sideline. And then it started the super pro slow fade, overstable doggy, just ripped around the corner perfect. We get down there, we got like 35 feet. And I remember wanting to go up there and get it. And Schiller goes, here, he goes, I got this one, bro. He goes, I got it. He like called me off when I was like a rabid dog going to the lie, I remember. Like, oh, I got this. And he popped it in there and we won. And that was my first victory. Was a world championship. How goofy is that?
Did you and this guy become like best friends?
Not at all. It was just strangers in the night. Exchanging birdies.
Yeah, never saw him again.
I don't even know where
Never
he went.
talked to him again.
Oh, Brad. Okay, so that was your first win. Let's go through the world titles that you have. How many are we talking about here?
Buddy, you want to go? You want to go through world titles that I have, or do you want to go through the absolute heartbreakers that would
give us one heartbreaker, your biggest heartbreak, and then remember the question was what accolades do you have? So that could be quick.
Okay. Oh yeah. My bad. Okay. Accolades. 5-time Masters champ.
That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
There we go. That's probably the biggest for me. And it's kind of bittersweet because it was never my idea. And one of my homies back home said, "Hey, Brad, you turned 40 this year, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, you could go play Masters at the World Championships and probably have a real good chance, and you get you a world title, and then you could go try and get the Open world title. And I go, I will never play Masters in my entire life. You are out of your mind, bro. Masters just seem like being sentenced to an island by yourself for eternity. I was like, I'm never playing Masters. What do you mean? I can beat anybody. That was my mindset. Why would I play Masters when I can beat anybody? Are you crazy? And then as the time went on that year, whatever, life throws you this and that and the other. And it started looking kind of good. I was like, hey, wait a minute. That kind of makes sense. I feel like I'm probably a good chance at a win at the Masters. So it kind of grabbed me by the foot a little bit. And anyway, I ended up going that way. And that's a story in and of itself. I didn't have a lot of money at the time. And I think I had some car troubles and I needed to find a ride to get out there. And a good friend of mine, Dave Hall from Augusta, Georgia, who I actually moved to Augusta with to play disc golf and maybe do some stuff down there initially in the early 90s. We were roommates at the time. We both caddied at the Golf Club of Georgia. So we had a little caddy shack with like 3 or 4 of us in there. And he's like, Hamster, you take that Nissan. Just take it. He goes, the AC doesn't work, but take it. I don't care. It'll make it, And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. So that's kind of, I was kind of in a little bit of a tight spot, you would say. And that kind of led me into the Masters thing too. The lure, the carrot dangling. 3,500 for first place. And I started thinking, yeah, I could win a Masters title, and then I could go try to get an Open title. Yeah, let's do that, And it didn't go that way, but what happened was, so the AC didn't work, right? So It's hotter than.
How long are you driving here with no AC?
I went from Alpharetta, Georgia to Sandbass Park in Houston, Texas.
Oh my gosh.
Pack a lunch.
Wait, in what month? what time of year?
The World Championships was usually in the heat of the. Oh, buddy, it was hotter than pavement. Yeah.
Good thing you won. That would have been dreadful.
Yeah, but here's the twist. That's why, like I tell you, when I go to, that's why it takes me so long, because I think I have a photographic memory. It's never been, confirmed or denied, but so these little fragments will pop up to my journey, and one of them was the AC didn't work. So I went ahead and said, AC/DC, baby, hell's bells, let's go. So I cranked up the windows, turned the heat on, and kept a gallon of water next to me.
But you want to be like an F1 driver?
Dude, I was just like, dude, it's going to be hot in Texas.
You were preparing yourself.
He was preparing.
I want to prep for this heat, okay? And it turned out to be rather ingenious, actually, I think. Because,
You're lucky you didn't pass out.
Dude, it was amazing. I mean, I was sweating bullets, you know what I mean? Chugging water, and every now and then I'd crack a window and get a little air. But I went through this ritual for a lot of that ride. And when I got there, buddy, it was so hot, Brodie. I'll never forget it. I would throw a shot, reach down into my cart that I'd put together with an old golf cart, and somehow fasten these two square boxes to it, because I was like, those are flat courses. I'm not going to be schlepping my bag around out there, in the heat.
Yeah.
And I had this gallon of water, and I would throw a shot, grab that thing, and just be like, chug, 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 chug. So hot, dude. But yeah, I'll never forget that. I found myself. You know how if you feel like you're the horse to beat, you can let it go to your head a little bit and kind of put this little unnecessary internal pressure on yourself, like, oh man, I am the guy to beat. Oh, well, I have to win. Yeah. Oh, don't drop the ball, dummy. Yeah, all those mental spirals that we're all subject to and should avoid at all costs. But It was just super. Oh yeah, I got there and I was behind the 8-ball. I started off, weak sauce. I had nothing. I was not making any birdies. I was choking, missing putts, yada yada yada. And I believe it was Dean Tannock that was, I think, 8 shots ahead of me after 2 rounds, and he had me by 8 shots. And that next round is when I threw it into gear, man. I was just like. I mean, I found what worked for me, which is it's a place, and it's a mindset, and it's a feeling that I wish I could recreate every day at a moment's notice. It's something that you can search for and find occasionally, and hopefully more often than not. But man, I'll just never forget it. It was like I couldn't hear anything. I was just grabbing the grass, feeling the wind, thinking about that golf shot.
You're dehydrated. That's what.
Yeah, you're literally delirious.
Yeah, you're delirious. You're done.
You're having a heat stroke.
Yeah.
A delayed heat stroke.
You're holding grass up to your ear, trying to listen to it.
Brodie, you don't know how accurate that is. I mean, that's basically what was going on. I mean, like I say, I don't know if it's, I don't know how you tap into it, but I've done it, quite a few times, but you remember it more times or less times than others. But like, I remember it there. I remember it when I played on a blown groin in 2007 and reeled off 6 unanswered birdies when I was down 8 shots on a blown groin that I'd played on all week, that I blew out on the first day of the World Championships in 2007. And I already had a little bit of a lead. There was like 3 holes left into the second round of the first day. I was torn between playing in the Open Championship or the Masters there. I was on that razor's edge because, man, I was playing so good, dude. I mean, I just remember, I was like, Brad, you're an idiot if you play Masters. How can you play Masters now? You're playing the best golf of your life. What are you thinking about? But I had won the year before in 2006, which was 4 out of 5. So I had this, my head was all messed up, and anyway. But I went to that place, man, and it's the
zone. You found the zone. You found the Brad zone.
Dude, the Brad zone is there somewhere, and when I find it, man, I find it some of the sweetest action on the planet that you can.
When's the last time you've been to the Brad zone?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I couldn't tell you.
Has it been this year? Have you found the Brad zone this year?
I'm gonna finish his accolades for the people at home real quick. He has 5 Masters World titles, 2 doubles world titles. I just looked at his statistic. He has 27 National Tour victories in the Masters division and 1 in the Open. So he's got it done. He has 126 wins, I think.
Jeez.
So he's got enough accolades to go around, that's for sure.
Never got the big one, guys. That's it. I missed the big ones. I didn't get the Usdgc, and I didn't get the Open like I wanted.
Plenty of top 10s. Give us. Were you ever close to the World Championships? Did you ever have a good shot at winning in the Open?
Oh, buddy, I had a 5-stroke lead in 1996. I shot a course record at George Wilson Park. That was when I was going. My little mantra was cool, calm, collected, perfection, rifle this disc in the proper direction. I would say that before.
We gotta put that on a shirt, Silas. That's electric.
I tell you, dude, it's one of the it's like Tony Robbins, it's like the mind game, like Jack said, it's that 6-inch strip of fairway that makes most of the difference. Once you attain the skill set to your greatest ability, then it comes down to what you do with your mind. I feel like that is the major determining denominator for success.
All right, so you win all these tournaments. Where'd you go? You leave the tour for a while. You get the Masters titles, and then you left the game for a while. What happened then?
That's a soft spot for me, and I'm embarrassed to tell you the truth a little bit, but because it's a big dose of weak sauce, kinda.
Kind of a big dose of weak sauce.
I mean, depending on how you look at it, I had spent so many years dedicating my life to being the greatest disc golfer that I could be, with ebbs and flows of full commitment during that span, as one might imagine. You give something you're all for, and then you lose focus, and you have lapses, and you maybe not as driven as you could have been. With in the sport of disc golf, as you can imagine, a self-governed sport, back in the day, and that's one thing I love so much about being out there on the Pro Tour. I just love the fact of the way pretty much all of the guys I've seen out there, we all are subject to lose our cool a little in one way or another. Sure, it's golf. It feeds you your lunch. You're going to get punched in the face. You're going to have to deal with it out there. It's not always easy. Like Roberto DiVincenzo said when he chopped it up at the Masters, sometimes it's not so easy. But what happened to me is I guess I kind of took the opinion of, man, I'm the 5-time Masters world champ. I'm defending my title. And I had to deal with the same kind of stuff that a professional golfer deals with in a self-governed environment for 20-something years. And, I think the way I applied myself to the game might have been slightly ahead of its time as far as acceptance is concerned. I think I would be much more accepted if I were myself then. Today, like trying to be a pro out on the Pro Tour. But back then, I always wanted it to be a professional sport. I always wanted to act like a professional, play in a professional environment. And I'm kind of a purist, an old schooler, you know? And so I like it to be quiet, and I don't want to be distracted when I'm making my effort. And I try to always provide that etiquette for every other player as well. You know, I felt that to the degree that you can exude good etiquette, it should come back. You know, it should be circular. It should be like, you know, the infinity sign. So it's like karma, you know, if you're always putting out there, hey, buddy, I want you to do your best. The last thing I want to do is distract you. But a lot of the other players weren't really like that, you know, is all I can say. They didn't see things the way I saw them. And I would kind of get frustrated about it and then eventually not handle it correctly and kind of lose my cool and fly off the handle about, can't you be a better professional? You know, no, you know, you could ask a bunch of people, and you know, there's always going to be player haters. And I was a player, and I think I got hated on a little bit because of my lack of professionalism in a few moments, and just the fact that I was such a grinder. You know, but the thing I love about now is that everyone seems to act more like a professional. They want it, you know, they're glad that they have a professional tour. They love the fact that they have a professional tour, and they want to act like professionals. Back then, that's kind of how I wanted to be. And it just really, I don't know, maybe I was too intense. I'm a bit of an animal when I compete. You know, I don't.
So you take the big break, you come back.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So, yeah, I basically got fed up with the lack of professionalism side of it. I was like, dude, what am I doing? I've spent my whole life out here with you guys, and everybody thinks I'm a clown. Not everybody, but a lot of people, you know, hey, I was like Rodney Dangerfield. Hey, I can't get any respect out here. You know, I win 7 world titles. What, you're going to just kick dirt up in my face? I'm trying to putt and tell me I'm a clown for getting mad, you know? But, you know, and too, you know, you get along. I was a late bloomer. I didn't get going until I was like 26. So, you know, the old midlife crisis. Hey, you've been a clown your whole life. Maybe you can't be a clown forever. You need to get out of the circus. You know, so it was like, yeah, I better at least try to act like a responsible human for 3 years, 5 years, you know, do something with yourself. You become a 5-time world champion, and apparently nobody cares, you know? So it was like, all right, I've had enough, you know, hasta la vista. You know, you guys don't want a pro? Okay, fine, I'm out of here. And you know, I kind of feel bad about it, you know, because obviously I love the sport. I always have, you know, and it hurt not playing for a while. You know, I got it going again 2016, 2017. I came out there and played in both world championships and played okay. You know, I did cash in the open division. I think AB told me I beat him there. He goes, dude, you beat me in 2017.
Oh.
I was like, you're joking, right? Because I didn't even play good, you know.
Well, you might have only been 7, Brad.
Yeah,
so I don't know if I
like
would
13.
Give a big like pat on your back there for being a 7-year-old.
So Brad, you come back.
7 feet tall too, though.
Take these guys through the decision to come out and jump on the bag.
Yeah, what was the connection with you and Uli? How did that happen?
You know, I've never been a big churchgoer.
I don't know where this is going, but I
all
like
right.
this.
All right.
All right. Okay. Let me lead out with that. I've never been a big churchgoer. However, I've always felt a very strong connection to the man. Okay. I believe in the man. How could there be this incredible, glorious universe, multitude of multiverses, you know, that goes on for a gazillion years, you know, and people talk about spirituality, you know, you don't have any proof. I'm taking Jesus' hand, but I believe that no matter what religion you do or do not believe in, I believe that there is a good energy in the world that wants everything to be good.
Okay.
I mean, he built this place, or it all came together because of goodness. If you think about human nature, it is basically good. Of course, you know, it's planet Earth. There's a gazillion things that have happened, and some people get off track. You know, people do bad things, you know. Stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But I believe in the good of the world, and I
then
just
Uli walked through the door.
God for me. That's right, I said it, folks. Uli'S a god. The god. There are many gods in the disc golf community.
Oh my gosh.
Out and try to meet them. They are incredible godlike people. But no. So Big Uli'S called me, and he throws this curveball at me and says, "Hey, dude, I want you to come out here and caddy for me." And so, you know, you hear that. And of course, my egocentric molecules go, and I'm like, caddy? Dude, I used to be one of the guys. I was one of the men, and now I got to be a caddy? What? But I'm a caddy anyway. You know, I caddy in golf, ball golf, and I did for more than 30 years. Obviously, I love the game of golf. That's another thing that Uli and I share in common, you know. But no, they say in life that, you know, you're lucky if you have 2 or 3 good friends. And so Uli, I said, dude, I got to think about this, bro. I got to think about this one. You want me to come out there and caddy where I'm known as an absolute clown? They tried to pin wraps. Dude, listen, we had a course back in the day. Hadn't had maintenance since it opened 2 years ago. Okay, limbs hanging down on baskets. Try to make it. Dude, trees in the way. Just
Hey, we're not getting off track.
Okay, no. I can get back. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's correlated. It's correlative.
Okay.
Correlated. Thanks for making me come up with a big word at the wrong time. Now I won't be able to remember anything.
So Uli calls you, says you want to, hey, can you come out here and caddy?
Yeah.
Right. Hey, dude, I want you to come out here and caddy for me. Figure it out. I'm like, you want me to come caddy for you and figure it out? And I go, dude, I got to take a day or two to think about this. You know? Just give me can I think about it? He's like, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. So I thought about it, you know, and I really didn't have to think long, because in all of my travels, disc golf related or any other, and I feel very fortunate to have done the travel I have, but I never met a guy I liked more than Paul Uli'S. Okay? I just love the guy. He's like a brother I never had. So he calls me and asks me this, and I was like, this is probably the only guy I would do this for, but I'm going to do it, you know? I mean, it's not rocket science. If I want to go be a caddy again, I can be a caddy. So I was like, worst case scenario, Paul, if I get in a bad spot, you just help me get back to where I was, you know, before I started caddying for you. And it was an easy decision. I was like, man, this is the greatest thing ever. My favorite guy in the world called me up and wants me to come out and caddy for him, dude. So the more I thought about it, the more I loved it, obviously. And as soon as I did it, it was just the greatest thing ever. I'm like, dude, this is so awesome. I remembered how much I love the game, how much fun it is, how great the people are, getting to see old friends, you know, and it just seemed like God to me. It seemed like God said, hey, bro, we miss you, dude. Come on back, dude. Come back into the circle, bro. Let's play some disc golf. That's really what it felt like to me. And so, yeah, it was an easy decision. And, dude, I love it. I absolutely love it. I feel like one of the luckiest guys in the world to have a friend like Paul, and to have a sport like disc golf that I love, you know, and get to be a part of and get to go out there and enjoy and hopefully make a difference, you know, and who knows how, you know. So, yeah, but that's it. That's how it happened.
One question I do want to ask is because you've been around I would consider like the three big eras that we've had, right? There was the Ken Climo era.
Okay.
Then you had the Paul McBeth era.
Okay.
And now I think we're kind of in this Gannon Burr era, right?
Yeah. Sure feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what similarities have you seen through these three different eras? Like what, and specifically those three people, Climo, McBeth, and Gannon Burr now, what similarities do you see in their game, their personalities, since you've kind of been around for all three?
Yeah. Well, initially, I immediately think of just intelligence. Gannon Burr. I mean, what a guy. You know what I mean? This guy's a kid. He's some kind of alien giant that just seems so far beyond his years, emotionally, intellectually, just down to earth wise. He just seems like one of the greatest people you'll ever meet. I mean, Gannon Burr is awesome. He may take a little extra time out there from time to time. And, when we played together, I thought, man, he's talking an awful lot. I might need to pull my player in over here. But love the guy. Paul McBeth, are you kidding me? Look at this guy. He's just an animal. That's just an athlete animal that, he's like built to throw. But his mind, he's serious when he's out there playing. And then, of course, the champ. I mean, come on. Cosmo. Oh, my gosh. You won't find a more aggressive competitor than that gentleman, but also very intelligent. Kenny is as many crazy things I could tell you about the champ and I, arguing, just acting like clowns over petty stuff. The champ is very level-headed. He's very clear-minded, I'm pretty sure, Paul, I know Paul McBeth's been going through different levels of his career, and I don't know how much he applied himself in every area. I'm sure when you get busy, you might, but you see him now, he's really trending, it seems like, and he said his game comes in levels, and he's just an incredible, smart tactician, I think. I think they're all good tacticians, just level-headed. Obviously, they love the game. They live for the game. They work very hard at it. They're naturally gifted in some areas. The champ was a big dude, I remember the first time I played with Kenny, I didn't birdie a hole for 9 holes because I was watching this guy throw. I was just like, what am I witnessing here? Just the action, the cleanliness, the repetitive purity.
He does. Climo does have this aura to him too, though, because when I got to watch him play last year at USDGC at that skins match, you're right. It's you can't really look away. You kind of just are like locked in on like everything the guy does.
Right.
I don't know if it's because we've like built him up as this like mythical character, and it was my first time, getting to see him in person and to play disc golf. Yeah. But there is something about him that it makes you want to watch him play disc golf.
Dude, no doubt. I mean, he's an athlete, bro. The champ is something else. He's tall, he's long, he's lean, he's pretty big dude. He's got big hands. He's an athlete, dude. He's a good golfer, and yeah. I mean, the guy rarely missed shots. They make fun of us all the time. Like Kenny and I were throwing paper plates with staples around the rim on 50-foot holes. And disc golf is a completely different realm now than it ever was. Like all he had to beat was a plumber and some guy wearing a tie-dye shirt. And but I'm telling you, dude, I've seen disc golf for a long time now, and I think I know greatness. And you put a healthy champ in there right now, dude, he's going to be brewing action and kicking people's ass and winning tournaments.
Well, I think he shot like 5 under through the first. They played that little loop at during the skins thing, and I think he was like 5 under through 7.
Oh yeah, I just talked to him
which is like very good. Like he would be in the lead after probably 7 holes.
And listen, this is a minimized champ too. Now the champ's no spring chicken. He's only 5 years behind myself. And the champ's high mileage damaged goods as well. Maybe not as damaged goods as me. I've been in multiple car accidents. I tried to jump in a car rolling backwards down a hill when I was younger. I mean, yeah, but the champ, that's why
throw that one in there, okay?
The champ had to step away from the game because sadly, after he would compete, you know, he would experience a lot of pain. But he told me, I talked to him just the other day, he was supposed to come up and do commentary this week before this Hurricane Milton started barreling down his throat, which I'm worried to death about. Adam Hammer says it's the worst hurricane in the history of the world, and it's going right at Tampa. So I'm a little concerned for the champ right now, but yeah.
You're talking to him?
Oh, yeah, my bad. And he said, yeah, dude, I played the other day. He goes, dude, I shot a 42 or something. He said, I didn't play the gold tees. He was talking about Cliff Stevens. He's like, I played the normal long course and I shot like 42, 12 under. Or it might have been better than that. I don't remember the number, but it was very, very low. And I was like, geez, champ. And I was like, did you feel okay after that? He goes, yes, surprisingly, I'm not getting as much pain as I was before. And he plays golf now and doesn't get as much pain. So that's really good to hear. But
do you think we could ever see him play again at like a USDGC? You know, we're seeing Nate Doss kind of make a little bit of a comeback in the sense of like he got to play out at Beaver State Fling earlier this year. And now he's coming out after, I believe, 7 years of not playing at USDGC.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And Nate looked pretty darn solid today.
It was crisp.
The rusty mistakes, you know, because
other than the first round, Uli'S at Beaver State, he played great.
Yeah.
He kind of put himself in a hole that he couldn't really get out of, but his last couple of rounds were great.
Yeah. Watching him throw today, he's got a good move, man. He can pop it out there adequately fine, you know, and he's incredibly accurate, and his putting stroke is so simple and effective. You know, I see Nate having a good week here. I really do.
I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Do you think Kenny will ever play again? You think?
Oh yeah. Man, I pray that he would. You know, he's really gotten into this family mode the last few years. You know, he had his last daughter. I think she's 13 now or something, or 14 or 15, something like that. It's happened so fast, but you know, a lot of times when I ask the champ about doing this, that, or the other, he's always like, dude, I got my family, bro. And I'm like, I get it. I understand. You know, you can't ever argue that. Family comes first. So, you know, but the champ, I don't know how many years he's got left, but I'd love to see him lean that way for sure. And I'll ask him about it next time I see him.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Crazy to see him play in person. That would definitely be must-see TV for sure.
Right. You know, I would love to do something with the champ where like him and I could play doubles against a couple of guys. Dude, that would make my day.
I'll get your old doubles partner, and it'll be me and him versus you two.
Cha-ching.
I'll get cha-ching.
Yeah.
I'll get him on the line.
You got it. Oh, quick. You got another memory from me. Here we go. All I wanted to do was play doubles with the champ at the Worlds one year. Pounding him, champ. Let's play champ, doubles. No. No. Forever. No, not gonna do it. Finally, after Kevin McCoy and I won in 2004, I said, so Kevin, we running this back that day? Kevin, we running this back? No, I got me a new partner for next year, which was just like a hockey stick to the chin for me. I was like, never forget that. I'm like, we just won 30 minutes ago. You're already dumping me? That to me made no sense until I found out, hey, Coda Hatfield, Johnny Gunslinger extraordinaire. Boom! So finally I get the champ to agree. All right, Bug, all right, we'll play some doubles. Let's do it. Dude, the champ and I went double yellow band 25 times in the tournament.
Wait, what is that? What's double yellow band?
High
Yeah.
on the basket.
Doubles partner. You make a beautiful looking putt. That's in for sure. No, bang, okay, I got you. I got it. Oh, identical twin. Bang, on the ground.
You guys couldn't make any putts.
Huh?
You couldn't make any putts.
Dude, we lost by like 2 shots. We double yellow banded 70,000 times. Felt like minimum of 15 to 20. Honest to God, I wish I. It's one of those never before, never after. Never seen anything like it. Never seen these guys do it. You guys are never going to do it. I know these guys won't do it. Probably. If anyone else has had a yellow band syndrome like the champion I had, I want to hear about it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not kidding you. We had like a 90-footer. Bang, bang. On the ground, dude. I was crying. I was like, I got champ after 15 years of begging him to be my partner. And we go, band on the run. It was horrible.
I think I know the answer. Did you guys play doubles together the next year?
Never again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I got a question for you. Not including professional players, okay? Not including people that are currently on tour. Where do you see yourself ending in a caddy tournament? So all the caddies that you've seen out there. Now, this is not like when James Proctor caddies for Evelina. This is not when other players caddy for Gannon. I think we've seen Gannon or there's other pros out there that caddy for one another.
Sure. I know.
Remove all those. I'm talking about the legitimate caddies only.
Gotcha.
Where do you see yourself playing a caddy only tournament?
I don't know how much I know about all the other caddies' games except for like Jeff Brick. I know Jeff Brick's pretty solid. He caddies for Simon and maybe some other folks. So usually
what about Isaac's dad?
Huh?
Isaac's dad.
Yeah. I've ran into Mike a few times back home in Atlanta at a disc golf course. But I really haven't spent much time, but I'm sure. I mean, look, you got Ez and Isaac as kids. You're obviously got something going on.
Yeah.
With some kind of game. I know he likes to do running rounds. He'd probably run me down if we played a running round. That's probably.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's his thing. I think they all used to do it. I think the Robinson family. I actually saw part of the Robinson family one time out there at the same park. I can't think of the name of it right now, but so they like to run. He might wear me out, But here's the thing, Brodie. It's like my game. I play a little bit, then I don't play, then I play a little bit. We do a bruiser, yada yada yada. I butcher the bruiser. It's like when you're as old and little as I am, and your move is about speed and explosion. If I had more time to regenerate my skill set to a little higher level, I could be more effective than I am currently. But right now, I feel pretty good. And ask Paul. I out of the car under par here at USDGC both times. Played hole 1. I butchered a couple of holes, but I would have shot decent, few over, even with the butcherage. And so I feel like I could shoot under par at USDGC right now. But that Brodie, is with this minimized skill set that I have carry with me presently.
Well, let's talk about that move and the explosion. The first time I ever saw you throw a disc, I didn't know what I was looking at.
Right.
I thought you were about to throw it in the opposite direction.
Sure.
Explain to the people how you came about this very unique
Both
setup.
the drive and the putt.
Yeah, the drive and the putt.
Sure. Yeah. Well, they're two different stories, and the first one is with the drive. I was trying to hit this 325-foot number 1 out at Rico in Georgia, a wooded downhill hole, 325. So the effective width of the fairway was probably 20 feet, 25, I don't know, but it's pretty tight, And this is early in my days, and I just kept spraying them. I couldn't hit this fairway. And out of necessity being the mother of invention, or frustration, or a little of both, or just natural athletic ability, which I have a little bit of. I just turned around. I was like, what the heck, dude? And I just turned around backwards, ran backwards, ripped the shot, and hit the flagpole on top of the basket. And I was like, bing, so it just happened. I was like, what the heck just happened there? And I tried it again, and I hit the fairway again, and I've kind of off and running from there. And I feel that that's probably largely in part that I'm, well, no, that's not really, I mean, I feel like I go after distance that way because being a little guy with a quick move and not much range of motion, I have to generate enough speed and then momentum thrown into the shot, kind of like a crow's hop in baseball.
Yep.
When you scoop that puppy up and you throw your upper body at it.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Dickerson reminds me a lot of how my upper body action used to be a little bit. I see him, he kind of throws his upper body at it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just I started throwing like that and getting some success with it. And that's how the turnaround move came about. I was like, dude, if I just turn around, and then from there, I figured out how to get set up perfectly. I look at it like on the right leg being the cylinder, and your arms and your torso are on that cylinder, and you have to spin the cylinder as far as you can, and then pop it at the target.
Okay.
So if you get the cylinder wrapped up tight, the gun loaded and wrapped up off the right hip, and it's a fine line because I kind of injured my knee when I tried to. Well, I was like, oh, I think I got the dude, you used to wrap tight on your hip, wrap tight. And I started tearing shot after shot. They were little 320 footers. And the next thing I was throwing a 200 footer and let's stab the guy in the knee with an ice pick. What? So that's where the knee injury came from. But no, it's something you got to feel yourself. But you get it locked in. It's basically taking all of the slack out of the rope, right?
Okay.
So you take the slack out. When you throw it, there's not going to be all this fluctuation. It's going to come clean out of there. Because the gun's loaded here, wrapped down to the hip, on the knee. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I'm an idiot savant.
Whatever works. At the end of the day, you got to do what works.
Listen, you're not going to
Shoot.
find somebody hit more gaps than this guy.
Shooter's got to shoot.
Fairway, right down the middle. All right, go into the putt. I need another.
Okay. Explain the putt now, because the putt is just as unique.
Yeah.
Oh well, thank you. Yeah, that's a story.
Thank you.
I want to thank Paul for not mentioning the fact that although it goes right down the middle, it goes about 240.
You're basically doing like a Gannon bird jump putt is what you're doing.
Exactly. Like AB can outdrive me with a mini. At least he keeps good. No, but I actually, it all depends because like I say, I'm high mileage damaged goods. Buddy, I've been through the ringer. I mean, if you want, I'm an active guy, and I have been an active guy for 1,000 years. So,
all right, putt. Tell us about the putt.
With each passing year, it's like, hey, wait a minute, dude. Yeah, you're seizing up, bro. You better stay on top of this because you don't want to seize up. So, like I say, I started stretching. I'm on this. Well, I'm gonna call it. I almost got on it last year. I call it last chance badass. Okay, when you get to be my age, I used to consider myself a badass, Brodie. Basically, is what.
Okay, all right.
I mean, dude, listen. I may be a little guy, but I'm pretty freaking tough. You know what I mean? So, gymnast in high school, bouncing around like a super ball. You know what I mean? Baseball since I was 4. AA tennis player. Let's go, buddy. Rip that golf ball. You know what I'm saying? So, the body's in rough shape.
Talk about the putt. Where'd the putt come from?
Okay. It was either 2003 or 4. I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, out there on tour, and 50-mile-an-hour wind. I'm like, holy moly, I got to get this action, bro. There's a 50-mile-an-hour wind out there. So I found the nearest disc golf course, and I found the angle to go straight into the 50-mile-an-hour monster, right? So, of course, everything, nothing looking like it was thinking about going in, right? So here again, necessity is the mother of invention. It was necessary for me to get as tight as I could. So I started wrapping up. Same principle. It's the same exact principle. You can coil your body to the left.
Can't see you that well.
Okay. You can coil your body to the left and hold it and lock it in. You know what I mean? And get locked.
Okay.
Locked position. That's pretty much the athletic position, you know. Right arm kind of up against the chest. Like if you had a tennis racket, you'd be holding that puppy strong there and then ripping on it like that. If you're hitting a baseball, you're kind of locked in right there. It's all about being locked in and taking all the slack out of the move is kind of the
idea behind it. Okay.
The concept, I guess you would say. And listen, I'm not the brightest light in the tree. Anybody will tell you that. I've been dropped on my head from a rope. Okay, I've been in multiple car accidents. I mean,
Okay, Brad. So you lock it up.
the point, it's relevant because you don't need a genius to do what I'm talking about. It's the point I'm trying to make. You just have to feel it. I'm a feel.
Yeah.
Now, Tiger Woods, feel, baby. I'm the same way. I'm a Capricorn, just like Tiger. I'm 13 years older than Tiger. And by golly, you know, I was always a huge Tiger fan, and it's basically because I share an affinity with the man. As far as the way I play disc golf is the way I feel like Tiger plays ball golf. So that's kind of where I ran into all the rough spots back in the day. It's like, who's this little numbskull that's acting like Tiger Woods? We're all out here having a good time. You know?
Hopefully it was just the on-course stuff that you're acting like Tiger Woods and not off-the-course stuff.
Yeah, it was for the most part. But, you know, like I say, dude, listen.
Brad, the putt.
So I'm winding up like a top, and I'm springing it into the headwind, you know, for about 3 or 4 hours. I don't know, 2 to 4 hours. And eventually I started getting a tighter line. Ding, ding, hitting some metal. Ding, ding, getting closer. You know, I don't remember if I made any. I feel like I probably made one or something, but I don't really remember that. I just remember that after that, I went to my next tournament and I started implementing that. And dude, I was putting like a god. I mean, buddy, it was like I had gotten better. I really had, you know, leveled up a little bit with the flat stick, and I loved it, you know. So it's a very physical thing. It's like you wrap up. It's like my whole disc golf game is so, and I recognize this in a lot of other players. I see similarities with their footwork and stuff. I can tell when they're on their toes, you know what I mean? And just using your energy absolutely all the way from your toes up to your hand when you throw it, you know, and that's kind of what I am, a field player. You know, you get locked in the right spot, get the touch right. If you get the right combo with everything, then as long as you make a pretty aggressive action, you know, it can only go so wrong. It's kind of.
Do you see any of these people that are like struggling with putting? Maybe they could go the Brad method? Do you see that could happen?
Dude, I doubt it will, but what I do know is that, and I love doing this, and I always tell everybody about it. You know, dude, just talk to a pro. Go talk shop with a top pro. Just go, hey, what are you doing, bro? Because that was one thing I felt like was one of my strengths is I was not afraid. You know, I asked the champ back in my early day. I was asked Jim Akins was a really good golfer that I played with a lot when I was like, Jim, how did you do that? You know, when you're first into the game and you see people throw these, like, dude, I got to do what? Share it with me, dude. What's going on? How do I do that? You know, you're really mind blown. And just talk shop with people because you're always going to make your stroke is always going to be your own. It's going to be an expression of yourself, but it doesn't hurt to think about every other aspect that other people use, because you might find the one that just clicks for you, you know?
If we see some of these players show up next year, Uli, and they're coiling up,
They're wrapping
to
up,
the
man.
basket, I will lose my mind.
Dude, it's not going to happen. But you know what? Now that you've said that, I am going to make it my mission to find some kid out there that'll adopt that style and take it to the top.
There's a bunch of people, I'm telling you, Brad, there's a bunch of people on tour that they're looking for something. I mean, the fact that you're what is this called again? What is that called?
What?
When you throw like this.
Turbo.
Yeah, the fact that people are trying to turbo putt from 5 feet because they can't trust their normal putt. Why not do the coil? Why not?
Oh, Brodie, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I don't know what happens to guys when they think they got to do that from that close. I mean, we got a problem there.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. I know. I see people. But no, back to what you were saying. You know, when I'm out there watching all these pros play, when I'm with Big Uli'S, you know, I love watching them and studying them and seeing how they're doing their stuff and all that. And I've seen things, and I've even mentioned to a couple of people, I forget who it was exactly, like Randon Lotta. I saw him, talk to him in Boston the other day at Casey White's house. Actually, we went out there and we were talking about his play, and I said, dude, listen, if you ever just want to talk shop, I mean, just say, hey, Brad, what do you do? You know what? And what I'm getting at is that I feel like I do have something to offer. I mean, I'm a good athlete. I mean, God didn't give me everything, but he gave me an athletic ability. And I feel like I'm a good people person, and I can convey certain things to people, you know, like a coach. I feel like I'm very coachable, and I'm a decent coach too.
Does Uli want you to be coaching up his competition?
You know, there's another aspect of it too. You know, I don't know that I really want to help him that much. But no, it amazes me because I was always so avidly pursuing good players to share with me what they knew.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it strikes me as odd, I guess I should say, that if someone was struggling and I said to him, hey man, you know, I got some game, you know, bro, if you ever want to talk shop, let's go. And I've said it to probably a few, you know, and I haven't got much response. So.
Well, maybe after this podcast, you'll get more. One of my favorite tailor-made videos, and you'll like this, Brad, being a Tiger fan, is that they've got literally all the top guys, right? All the top guys are there. Tiger's there as well. I mean, I'm talking Rory. I'm talking Jason Day. I mean, just the whole list of all the top. I think this was back when it was who's the guy that just went to Live Johnson, Dustin John. I'm talking the big names, right? And,
right. DJ.
They're all out there. They're all hitting balls and stuff like that. They're all talking, saying stuff, and then all of a sudden, like Jason asked Tiger a question about something, and Tiger starts to talk. Everyone goes silent, and everyone listens. And it was the only time that everyone like stopped their little side convos, and everyone was just like trying to listen to see what Tiger had to say to try to get any ounce. And I think you're right. I think that is a huge thing. I mean, my first year playing Ultimate Frisbee, I seeked out our top 2 guys on the team, and I probably annoyed the crap out of them because I asked them endless amount of questions. And I think that's what you got to do.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that's what you got to do. You got to ask people that are better than you what they're doing, and hopefully they're dumb enough to give you the answers.
Right. Or they don't even care. They're just like, dude, come and get it.
Yeah, true.
See if you can do it. You know, that's the way I look at it. You know, other than improving players to beat my guy, I certainly don't want that. But I do want to help any disc golfer I can at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, I like it. Having the athletic background that I have, and love for sports, and just I've been around sports my whole life, and you know, I don't know what these guys need for accolades. You know, it's like you say, I mean, the way I look at the game is that I never got the Usdgc and I never got the World Championship in the Open division. Other than that, I pretty much, you know, checked all the boxes.
Well, some of the best coaches in other sports have 0 accolades as far as their individual goes compared to pros.
Right.
But, you know, maybe, I don't know. I think you have a wealth of knowledge that a lot of youngsters for sure could definitely use. And like I said, maybe someone will listen to this podcast and maybe you'll have more people reaching out to you.
Man, I mean, that would be totally cool with me. I'd love to work with anyone, but you know, it always, here's the thing. It's like we all, or not we all, but we as coaches and players that want to help other people like Uli and Simon with their institute, there's all these different approaches. So it's like, just check them out. Like you could check me out. I might not do anything for your game at all, but you might find something that was like, hey, you know, Numbskull told me to do this, and by golly, you know, it worked.
Yeah,
I can't believe it, you know. So no, but I do feel like I have a decent amount of knowledge. But then on the other hand, I'm kind of an idiot savant too, you know. So I don't know if I'm as intelligent as I think.
Listen, no, Brad, one of my favorite things about Brad, the last couple years before this last season, I was struggling, man. I was taking like 70th and I wasn't cashed. I had like 9 straight missed cashes. Through that whole process, you know, I'm down on myself and like I don't believe in myself, and I know it's there and I'm trying, and I don't like to listen to a lot of stuff. But through that whole process, this guy's on my bag with a life that he can go back to caddying, right? And the constant, Paul, you're the greatest. Paul, you're the greatest. Paul, don't say that, you're the greatest. Paul, no. And he's having to deal with me missing cashes. I don't make money. He's not making that extra money. And there's never been one time that this guy didn't pump me up. You know what I mean? And that was so important, because then when it started clicking, this is the guy that I need, you know, with there. Because if this guy believes in me to that extent, what am I doing with myself? You know what I mean? And I think that's what he takes to everything that Brad does. I mean, he does it 100%, and I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Man, thanks, Paul. Yeah, I wanted to interrupt him before that because he said, what did he say? I don't like to listen to much. I mean, that's not true. He doesn't hear a word I say. No, not only does he not hear it, he refuses to open his ears to try to hear it. There's really no point in listening because, Brad, you know nothing that I don't know. No, thank you for those words, Paul. I appreciate it, man. You know, it's like, obviously I want my horsey to run as good as he can. And, you know, being that my better days are behind me, that's really what I live for. I can't wait until Paul and I start winning again. It's the best, dude. You know, Paul does so much for the game and has and competed for so long. And you won't find a more I mean, you talk about giving it your all. This guy, he doesn't even need to eat. He's like, I'm ready to play. I don't need food. I don't need air. Get away from me. I need nothing. I'm always trying to, man, what you need
this oxygen out of my face.
You need to say, Brad, I'll take a drink of water when I'm thirsty, numbskull. I'm a grown man. It's just the best, dude. When he goes into that place, and listen, that was tough for me because my initial vision was like, dude, me and Uli and I are just going to be out there just, what do we got here? Oh, we got a little headwind. Yeah, off the lake, 270 cover, 350 back edge. You want me to miss this long and left, right? Yeah, that's right, baby. Just keep it left. You miss his left. Throw it hard, keep it left. No. Let daddy cook. Clam up, kid. I don't care if you're God and the all-knowing disc golfer of the universe. And it's true. he knows everything he needs to know. He does. And so it's really just staying out of his way, basically. And at first I felt, and he even told me, he's like, listen, numbskull, you're not hearing what I'm saying to you. Shut your pie hole. Keep it down, bro. Hey, you see your knuckles? Yeah, those are for knuckle bumps. Dirty. Do you understand? And I had to sculpt my caddying. So, but it's great. It's been and I felt like there was a big turning point where I was like, hey, all I got to do is shut up. And that's what he kept telling me. He's like, dude, I gave you the simplest job in the world. Just shut your mouth. I don't care.
I told him the first week on the bag, I said, this is all I need from you, man. You carry the bag, silence. If I talk to you, let's talk back. Be there waiting with a fist pump. For 2 months straight. What do we got here, Uli'S? He's like, right here next to me. I'm like, oh my gosh. What do you do? What are you doing? He's like, what are we doing here?
He's like, dude, you're clogging up my brain. I don't need to hear that. And I was like, but it's sound advice. It doesn't matter. Don't you understand? What did I said one time, I told him, I said, it was kind of a big putt or something. I go, take your time, bro. He's like, wait a minute. How much time do I have to take here? What did this clown just say to me? What prescription was
just imagine silence the whole time, and then all of a sudden you got a putt, and he goes, first words ever. Take your time here. I'm like, what's going on? Am I about to win the tournament? What's happening? Oh, so funny.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, Brad. Well, we can't go over 3 hours. Silas will punch me in the
Sorry,
face.
Silas.
He's on East Coast. Well, Uli's on East Coast time too.
No.
But before we let you go, we got to know.
Yeah.
One of our favorite things here, one of our favorite listener things here, when we have new guests on, we ask them their biggest pet peeves. So something that really ticks you off that either happens while you play disc golf, while you watch disc golf, anything in that realm. Is there anything that really gets under your skin?
Like I say, that was basically the root of the problem with me and my existence on tour, is that I always wanted a professional environment, and which is basically just, quiet on the set. It's just like on the PGA Tour. That's why they hold up these signs that say, hush, y'all. When a golfer is golfing, it's kind of imperative that he's afforded, his time on the course as a professional, the way his time should be, which is not being distracted, And I know there's distractions everywhere from one form or another, but in my opinion, as far as within the group goes, you should go out of your way to make sure you're not distracting your fellow players. And so as long as you don't distract me, but, somebody chirping me up, like Cupcake and I are at each other's throats. We haven't resolved it because we went to Mount Airy Forest, where I had probably my greatest win in singles. And I believe it was 1997. It was one of the toughest courses at the time, still pretty tough. We played it. I wasn't throwing it very good that day, but I did make an ace on film, which was nice. But I told the guys when I got there, I go, listen, guys, this is a really special place for me. I got 1 foot in the grave. I don't know if I'll ever be back here. I just really want to enjoy the day, kind of like a pro. So can you please just afford me silence, quiet on the set when I'm throwing my shots? Can you manage to control your humanity in a way that you're not moving or creating distracting sounds 35 seconds at a time while I'm throwing my shot? Couldn't do it. The guy couldn't do it. It's like Ron White said, dude, you can't fix stupid. I hate to say that, Cup, but that's the way I felt about it, you know. So, you know how I feel, and I love you, brother, and we're brothers, and we'll get it back together eventually. But so that for me, just don't distract me when I'm throwing a golf shot, and I'm one of the greatest guys ever. But if you distract me, you know, it's like if you push the koala bear into the corner and jab him with the ray, you know, over and over, eventually the claws come out. So, and that's never good for anybody. It's not a. So that's my. Let the professional enjoy his professional time. He's out there living and breathing and dying for the sport. Because I think that's kind of how I play. I'm like a Tiger Woods. I go into a bubble. I'm demanding perfection. I want a peak performance, and I don't need somebody distracting me unnecessarily. That's my pet peeve.
So you're out, I'm assuming, on the guys that bring like the stereo and play their music during like C tiers and stuff?
You know, if it's a small time event, I'm good with it. You know, hey, let's party, let's rock and roll. If it's a fun zone or whatever. But if I'm on a pro tour, buddy, let me take my shot without any problems, please. That's just it. And like I said, I feel that that's an intrinsic part of the game. The game itself, as in life, you know, there's a spiritual aspect to it. Whether you believe in God or whatever, energy, whatever you want to call it, it's been my experience that, you know, you should get what you project out there, and you deserve to. So if you provide good etiquette, you should receive it in return. And I felt like that's where it was kind of, the scales were a little tipped, because I was always, I went out of my way to make sure I was never distracting anyone. Not that I was perfect. We all kind of move ahead of the lie a little bit here and there. But then a simple, hey, can you back up? You know, there is some of the responsibility, obviously, is on the player if he's being distracted. But, you know, I think it's just such a simple thing to me, and should just come naturally with the sport when you're out there, is, you know, go out of your way to make sure you don't distract a fellow professional, because I'm sure you don't want to be distracted either. And that's kind of the way I look at it.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Well, me and Brad, I will say, as long as you don't do it in practice rounds, I think me and you would be fine. Because for those that have played practice rounds with me, I pretty much talk the entire time.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Tournament round's a little bit different. Uli, you got anything else for Brad before we let him go?
Brad, all the guys on tour, who do you look at and they have a skill set that you're like, ooh, I like that. I wish I had that.
Oh, gosh. Plenty of people. I mean, you know, shit, everybody. I throw at 240 feet. No, you know, impressive. I mean, Gannon Burr, I mean, smooth as silk, like a computer. Look at Ricky Wysocki stepping up there with those sidearms and backhands and that putt of his. I mean, dude, Big Uli'S, the way you putt, the way you play, the way you recover, the way you fillet fairways. A lot of these guys, I mean, what is Isaac Robinson doing out there with that little jukety juke? And it goes, Ezra Robinson, Brandon Lotta smashes the disc, dude. What about Sir Silas Schultz? I mean, and of course you watch the great one, AB. I mean, the guy's like some kind of Greek god out there, throwing it farther than anybody and just playing like an animal. All the great guys, man. I mean, that's another big bonus that comes with Caddie, and I get to see the greatest players out there. You know, and there's
it helps when your player is good.
It does. It does.
Sorry to all my caddies this year. Apologies. Who do you got this week, Brad? Before we go, give us predictions.
I got Double G. Garrett Gerthy.
Well, you didn't even list him as one of your guys.
Huh?
You didn't even listen as one of your guys.
Well, he's gonna finish. Why
Okay,
do you got
all right,
Double G?
all right. Bring me to it. Bring me to it. Here we go.
Me, one of the guys that impresses me.
No, who do you got to win the tournament?
Yeah, who do you got to win the
Double
tournament?
G.
Oh, to win this week. I thought you meant who do you got on the back? Because I'm gonna caddy for Double G.
And so you better
so you
have
think he's
Double
gonna
G as the
win?
win. Yes.
Well, here's the thing. Double G, at the Worlds, I was on his bag, and before it started, man, he looked like a winner. I thought he was going to win, or at least be up there pretty good, and he didn't play as well. But that being said, I know he's playing well. He's throwing it well, and I just asked him to try and get in a lot of putting practice this week, and I used the phrase that Uli'S said. I told him, I said, you just keep saying this to yourself, Garrett. I'm Garrett Gerthy, and good things happen to me because I deserve them. And he goes, you got it, buddy. So I'm hoping he took that to heart. And
I love that.
Yeah, I think I know. I love that too, and I think Double G's going to play well. I really do. I haven't practiced with him this week. There's been other stuff going on, and he's practiced on his own. But he knows this course, and he's very accurate off the tee, plenty long, and a streaky putter. But when he gets it going, Double G can play. And I'm going to try and interject some fire into his game. It's one of those things, hopping around from bag to bag like I've been doing recently. I'm not sure I make the right choices. My approach is to how to approach each player. Do I say this? Do I say that? I felt like I got through to
Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah. Don't rush this, dude, whatever you do.
The last thing you want to do right now is to rush this.
Yeah, never rush, and don't worry about the OB pit on the left, bro. No, but I felt like I got through to AB on the third and fourth rounds, and he played really great. And what I told him was, when we were walking up there, Uli'S kind of got me in a place where I try not to say things as much because I don't want to distract my guy. I don't want to interject too much because I just need to let Daddy cook. So I don't interject. And but with AB, I was like, you know what? I tried the first 2 days. I didn't interject anything. And on the third day, I go, hey, and the night before we went to Cascade Falls and they got a tiki course set up. And he made some putts and was pumping his fist like he was winning a tournament. And I was like, that's it, AB. That's what I want the rest of the weekend. That's how you're going to play disc golf this weekend. And then that next day, I go, I'm not taking no for an answer, AB. You're going to play good today, buddy. We're making a bunch of birdies. And he likes rap music, and he had this thing, and I threw something about that rhymed with the tune. I was something about more birds. I forget what it was. I like to do that. And I was telling him that, and man, he played incredibly. He could have shredded that thing. If I could have had him even on half that mode, the first 2 rounds, he's got a real easy win there, I think.
Dang.
Yeah. AB's playing so good. He's a little streaky too. And, like we say, that's why I like to talk shop with people, because that's the very kind of thing like that. I think if more people played with the fire that I played with the fire that Uli'S plays with, the fire that, when people are playing great golf, I feel like there's usually some fire in there, and I think they'd play better. So, I feel like I have more of a mental thing that I could share with people, maybe more than my skill set. Because like I say, I'm kind of an idiot savant, although I think my technique is kind of sound. Like Uli'S says, I'll hit a fairway on you, and I can make some putts. But yeah, that's it, pretty much.
Love it. Well, Brad, this has been awesome. We appreciate it. We're definitely going to have you back, because I feel like you weren't able to say all the stories that you got up there. So we'll have to have you back at some point. Man,
Brodie, thanks a bunch. Uli threw this curveball at me out of the blue. Hey, you're on podcast. You're on with us on tour like tonight. Dude, I got a billion stories. You could have me on 50 times. You'd never get enough. You'd never get it all.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, we appreciate it. Have fun this week. I hope Double G does good, but not too good to where he takes you away from Uli. What if Double G wins and then just...
Hey, that's a nice bonus check for my guy. So I would love that.
Okay. All right. A little competition there, maybe.
Hey, I'd love for Double G to win, but it'd just be like Kevin McCoy and Coda Hatfield. I'd be like, he goes, so Brad, we're gonna run this back. I'm like, Uli'S feeling good.
See it,
bro. Thanks, guys.
All right, Brad. We appreciate it, brother. Have fun this week, man.
You too, man. Thank you.
All right. There you have it. Wow. Uli. All right. Well, that was man, my cheeks hurt from laughing. That's how you know it was a good one.
Literally had cry eyes from laughing multiple times.
All right, we got to run through a few things and then we'll get out of here. A couple updates with Usdgc. So Hurricane Helen went through, did a crazy amounts of damage to the course. And I just want to give a big shout out to all of the staff, volunteers, everyone that was able to put in all this work. They pumped over 9.5 million gallons of water from the lake. I mean, you can see these baskets are like clearly under the water here. They did 150,000 pounds of mulch was spread throughout the course. 800 pounds of hay was spread out. They had 20 dump trucks of debris removed, and also beach hole number 6, one of the most iconic holes on the entire course, was drained and is now being addressed. So it looks like they did a whole bunch of work, which is nuts. And I just want to give a big shout out to everyone out there. That was incredible. That was really good. Last thing here, Uli. This was done by Disc Golf Fanatic on their Facebook page. These are the 4 years of hole 9. I thought this was a very cool post. So 2021, they started with these like pillars with like the little green around them, which was interesting. This was actually kind of a little bit challenging because you actually had to hit a gap a little bit. It was, most of us still went over with the hyzer, but it was a little bit scary. The next 2 years were actually a lot easier. 2022, they did the famous Christmas trees here, which literally added nothing to the hole. Everyone was able to throw whatever shot they wanted. 2023, they added a little bit more of a girth, I guess you could say, to the Christmas trees. But still, everyone was pretty much throwing the shot that they wanted. This year, I'm a big fan of this. Now, does it look the best? I don't know. I don't think they're allowed to plant trees, Uli. Do you know if that's the case?
I don't know that.
Okay, so to me it looks like they went with live trees here, but they're in these planters that you can clearly like pick up and move. But it looks like you actually have to require to throw a shot now through the middle.
It's tight.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of it as far as just like changing the shot. Silas, you got to play the course for the first time. Do you have anything to say? Your thoughts of the course?
Yeah, it's a hard course. As a measly amateur, it's super difficult. I mean, just even that hole, I'm like, I won't spoil the Wednesday video or the video that comes out tomorrow. Me and Connor played doubles.
You guys have to watch this. Silas and Connor playing doubles at Usdgc coming out tomorrow.
But it's super fun course, super hard course. Much respect for it, for sure.
What's your favorite hole?
Hole, I'm going to say hole 14. Just because I like the forehand. I like the forehand there. And I did good on it.
Power forehand Silas right there. Love to see it. We are going to do the listener questions from this week next week. So apologies if you put in some listener questions. It's a little bit of a longer podcast today. So those will go into next week. Uli'S, Silas, though, do you guys have anything else for the people? I know it was a little bit of a long one.
No.
Nope.
All good. All right. Well, we appreciate you, everyone that stuck around and listened to the very end. Thank you guys so much. This podcast, man, this is why, when I first started this podcast, I didn't really know what it was going to do. Then once Uli'S said, hey, I want to be on board with this, then we kind of took off running. And then once we started adding in the guests, I really think having some of these people on, Missy, Proctor, Brad, really makes the podcast. The stories they bring, the lessons we learn. We still got to make that a shirt. I can't remember what he said. Did you write that down, Silas? Were you able to write that down?
No, we'll have it clipped.
All right, we'll go back to clip it because he said it real fast, and I was like, "What the heck?" But yeah, this is awesome. We appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much, and enjoy USDGC, everyone. Enjoy it. It's one of the best tournaments that we have all year. So go out if you're able to watch it in person. Enjoy it. If you're going to watch it online, enjoy it. And if you're in Florida or the Southeast, thoughts and prayers heading to you. We really hope everyone is safe and gets out of harm's way. And we thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care, my friends.